and 800-8000 now. That's 820-800-8000.
Colonial Metals is not a financial advisor. Consult with your advisor before investing.
That's 820-800-8000.
The Joseph Michael Chubbuck Foundation's 7th Annual Central New York Wing Wars, to be held Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, is sold out. The Chubbuck Foundation wants to thank the Central New York community, WIBX, Arts Hill Inn, and this year's participants, Celtic Harp, Fratello's Pizzeria, Hot Off the Brick, Knuckleheads, Lucan's, Piggy Pats, Pizza Boys, Pizzeria Italia, Ray Brothers Barbecue, Crust Kitchen and Bar, Tony's Pizzeria and Deli of New Hartford, and Utica Barbecue for their continued support. The 200 attendees will vote for the best wing and the most unique wing, alongside a panel of 7 celebrity judges: Oneida County Sheriff Masciol, Senator Griffo, WKTV's Jason Powells, Empire Plate's Bill Pinchy, WIBX's Bill Keeler, Assemblywoman Buttonshawn, and former SU football player Byron Abraham. Proceeds will assist cancer patients in financial need in Oneida, Herkimer, Madison, and Onondaga counties. If you'd like to add your name to the ticket cancellation list in the event a ticket becomes available, please call 315-339-5993. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Hey, Frank, looks like business is booming. What are all those tabs you have open on your computer?
Oh, hey. Well, this one is for my SEO company. This one is for my website company. This one is for my CRM. This is for invoicing and estimates. This one does email. And this one does billing.
Geez, that sounds tricky to manage.
It's clunky, but I need all this to run my business. Wait, you run your own business, and you're even busier than I am. Don't you have all this stuff, too?
I do, but I get it all on one screen with the Town Square Business Management Platform.
What's that?
The Town Square Business Management Platform is an all-in-one tool that helps me grow and run my business. It combines website, billing, and scheduling into one program.
That sounds simpler than juggling all the tools I have now, but you still need someone else to help you find new business, right?
Nope. They have powerful digital advertising built into the platform as well, which helps me keep my calendar full. You can get a demo of the product for free. Check out their website. See if it makes sense for your business.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a free demo of the Town Square Business Management Platform. Visit townsquarelocal.com. That's townsquarelocal.com.
I love being part of AmeriQ Credit Union, where I share my dreams, my goals, and my challenges with those who know me best, where I stay connected no matter where my life takes me. And financial solutions are designed with my best interest in mind. Create a meaningful connection. Visit AmeriQ.org to learn more and open an account today. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership eligibility required. Insured by NCUA.
It's time to start the program. It's time to earn our pay. It's time to meet the people on the Keeler Show today. It's time to read the news and weather. Time to figure out what to say. It's time to turn the channel of the Keeler Show today. Why do we always listen? Keeler's always in the know. It makes me want to call him and tell him where to go. And now let's get things started. Andrew, let's get things started.
It's time to get things started.
On the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Keelerational. This is what we call the Keeler Show.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Okay, and it's the first day. Is this where we all the meteorologists say, I can't believe it's the first day of February. I can't believe it's already February, but it is. Good morning, and it is February 1. We got a whole bunch going on. All week long, Andrew is off, and we have guest co-hosts. And Davey, where is our guest co-host this morning?
I don't know.
Oh, no.
Do you know where he is?
I don't know. But he'll be in soon. I'm told he'll be here soon. We'll see what occurs. So be looking for the doorbell to ring, most likely. And
he knows how to get in.
He knows how to get in.
Yes.
Senator Joe Griffo will join us here this morning. And there's a lot to talk about when it comes to school funding. The governor wants to change the way schools are funded. Is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? We'll speak with the senator on that one a little later on here this morning. Also, we have a whole load of stuff here today, and I'll get to it coming up. I'm
Sorry
almost
about
there.
that.
That's all right. Ryan Schmelz coming up in a few minutes. We'll speak with him. Hobica's free money question of the day this morning. Brian Miller, the Assemblyman, is on. John Decker is on today. Also in studio, this is going to be interesting, and I want the senator's take on this. Former Congressman Bob Inglis is in this morning, a one-time Denver, I believe Denver. No. It couldn't be. No, he's a one-time denier of global warming. And he is from Republican from South Carolina. But he is actually going to be a part of a climate change panel at Hamilton College, and his take on how the GOP should be reacting to all this. And we'll speak with him coming up in studio in the 7 o'clock hour. Really looking forward to that here on this February 1st. As for climate change, do you know that we are right now over 3 feet of snow behind our normal snowfall totals?
In this area or just
Here.
in New York State?
Here in upstate New York.
Wow.
I don't know about everywhere else,
So
but
that
at
means
least
Syracuse too?
at least for here, yeah.
Wow.
Everybody, we all are. In fact, you put that together with the gloomy feel that we've had, and the sunshine is going to look pretty darn good this weekend. But abnormal. We are way behind when it comes to snow totals. I mean, just think about it in Booneville, of all places, where they'll get more than we get down here in the valley. Booneville had to cancel their Winterfest this year.
Snowmobile thing, yeah.
Yeah, which the snowmobile races and all of that. The sun has not poked through the clouds in our area in more than a week. And it's even worse than that. Megan Stone was going through the numbers. We haven't had a full sunny weekend since like the first weekend in October.
Richard would probably defer with her and tell her something else.
We'll see what Richard has to say on that. But if for us anyway, it's been January 22nd since we've really seen the sun. I feel like we maybe have changed and we're more like the Alaskan. I'm telling you, I realize it doesn't get dark for 3 months, but it certainly feels like it. But that gloom is going to end. There may be light at the end of the horizon this weekend. They say Saturday and Sunday will be sunny with clear skies at night, according to the National Weather Service. Afternoon temperatures should rise to the mid-30s, a little bit warmer than normal. But the sunshine will make all the difference in the world. This has been a pretty darn gloomy few days, certainly. What else? The way schools are funded, it's something that Governor Kathy Hochul is trying to change, and Republicans are up in arms about it. A group of New York Republicans in Congress have rallied against Governor Kathy Hochul's proposal to change how state aid to local school districts is calculated, introducing a resolution urging her to rescind her executive budget proposal that includes the calculations or recalculations. One of those Republicans is Representative Claudia Tenney, who, of course, used to represent our area, along with 5 other House Republicans, saying the spending plan is wrong. Hochul's misguided decision to cut critical funding from taxpayer-funded schools threatens students' learning, especially as they continue to recover from COVID-related learning losses and their access to valuable disability services and mental health, according to Tenney. In her release, she said, "I stand with my New York Republican colleagues in demanding she reevaluate her priorities and support our children over illegal migrants." And again, we'll see what Senator Griffo has to say about all of that. Speaking of the migrant situation, I can imagine this won't go well. I'm sure you've seen the story in New York City where just outside Times Square, migrants who were gathered there in New York City attacked New York City police. It happened just outside Times Square in one of the shelters. 2 officers and a lieutenant from NYPD's Midtown South Precinct approached the group of men outside a migrant shelter on West 42nd Street near 7th Avenue at about 8:30 p.m. on Saturday. The incident seemed likely to raise the temperature of the already heated debate surrounding the migrant crisis. The officers had been trying to break up the disorderly crowd outside the Candler building, where the city announced the opening of a mega shelter in March. When the cops attempted to put one of the men under arrest, multiple migrants attacked the police. The men kicked and punched the officers in the head and body. Video has been released by police. They were kicking and punching one of the cops. A security guard in the area told the Daily News on Tuesday. They mobbed the cops. It was wild. The lieutenant suffered a cut to his face during the melee. He was treated at the scene along with his colleagues, according to police. 2 19-year-old men, a 24-year-old man, and a 21-year-old man arrested at the scene, all charged with assault on a police officer. So we'll get Griffo's take on that as we move forward. How about Section 3, Davey, having their meetings this week? And the one that I think I'm most surprised with is their decision. A bunch of decisions have been made, but I think the one that I'm most surprised with is Glens Falls. Glens Falls is about to lose
the basketball
tournament.
Wow, where are they going to be bringing it to?
In a more central part of the state, Binghamton. I don't know what they're thinking, going back down to Binghamton. Center. Utica would be the perfect spot for that, right?
To the Nexus Center, beautiful, beautiful Nexus Center.
And I'm not sure that we have the availability. What with the Comets and the Pioneers and everything else that's going on at the Odd. Come on in, Joe. Come on in. You're late. Come on.
I was told 6:30.
Bring it in. I told him 6:15.
You want me here?
Why don't you go over there?
This one here?
No, we're going to put you way over here. Anyway, we lose. So Glens Falls loses that, which means for the basketball state championship, everybody's going to have to travel to the corner of the state, although really they were anyway with Glens Falls. But Central New York, whether it be at one point it was in Syracuse, always was held at the Manley Fieldhouse, which was the perfect place to hold it. Or it could be done here. Senator Joe Griffo, you're walking right into the microphone. What do you think on the decision by? And I know there's a lot of lobbying. This is why it's almost like going after the Olympics, but
Actually,
I think it's
history with this.
I think it's a terrible place to hold it.
So good morning, everyone. I was told 6:30, but I'm sorry. Maybe I was. I'll tell you, 49 is busy.
We're just going to dock your pay.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I got a title, Route 49. I'm normally not on it at 6:30 in the morning.
You'd be surprised.
Very busy out there.
I've been in road rage incidents at 5:45 in the morning. So
is that you or the other car?
It's always the other car.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on this high school.
This is a high school basketball only.
Right, but we got involved in this a long time ago when I was in the city of Rome, before I was even mayor, to bid on the hockey tournament, because they always held the hockey tournament up in Glens Falls, and there was basically they had really kind of had basketball, hockey. So we began to say, let's put a bid in and explain why we think it's better here. And we actually were successful.
Yeah.
And Utica got it for a long time, and then that was moved to Buffalo. And we really kind of, that just happened in the last decade, and we kind of raised questions.
Yeah, I bet it was 8 years ago, 9 years ago it was in Utica.
Probably a little longer than that.
Okay.
Because since we've had all the improvements in the audit, I don't think they've been back. And this is more of a reason why they should be here, because of everything that's been done.
The facility now is just top-notch.
And the location. I mean, it's the easiest to get to.
Yep.
And you provide a great quality experience. I think what happened then is the Pagulas, from what I understand, put a little revenue enhancement in for the state association and the tournament, so they went out to Buffalo.
Why Rochester?
Is that where?
I'm sorry. Why Binghamton?
I think they put a bid in, and I'm not sure what the bid looked like.
They bid. They lobbied hard, but so did Glens Falls. Again, I don't think Glens Falls is a great location. At least you can argue, well, it's right up the Northway, easy access. But there's really Binghamton is always so hard to get to.
It's been synonymous with Glens Falls has been synonymous with basketball.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know what the facility looks like because I've not been there in a number of years right now. But again, you bid on these now, and you really have got to make it a lucrative bid for the association.
It's almost the same way that we bid on the Olympics. That you bid. It's
do you remember
greasing
we used to have
palms?
something called the Empire State Games?
Yep.
Do you remember them? And
Yeah.
in fact, there's still winter games that are done in Lake Placid. So the winter games were always held in Lake Placid. But when George Pataki became governor, he began to rotate, and you could bid on this. Syracuse originally was the site. Remember they had the National Sports Festival
it was
there?
in Rome. Yeah.
So we had an opportunity to bid in the Mohawk Valley, and you probably remember that too. In fact, Steve Marin was the chair of the organizing committee, and we were successful in getting that for Madison, Oneida, and Herkimer counties that time. And I think we did a phenomenal job in how the games were run. With
And
all the volunteers.
who was the classic rock band that you brought in?
Collective Soul.
Collective Soul performed at RFA Stadium.
If you remember that night, we had, and they told us it was
and fireworks,
laser shows. It was the biggest attended opening ceremonies of all of the then Empire State Games.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. Well, back then, though, you were the rock and roll mayor.
And you know who did the commentary statewide? It was the first time they went statewide on Spectrum that year where everybody could watch it no matter where you were as well as attend it. One Ryan Nobles.
I do remember that. And look where Ryan is today.
And Carrie Nobles, who was not Nobles
pretty
at
awesome.
the time.
They were on WKTV at the time then. What is your take on congressional Republicans are all up in arms here in New York over the governor's plan to fund schools? By the way, this is not a system we currently have with foundation aid and everything else. Not a system I would hold up and say, we cannot change this. We have such a great system. It seems like a system that is so difficult, so complicated, but they're calling for the governor to stop, saying this is bad for students, bad for schools. What's your take?
Well, I think the proposal hopefully is dead on arrival from conversations that we've had with our colleagues.
What is she trying to do?
Well, I think she's trying to position herself right now. Some of this is part of the budget dance where the governor does certain things and then the legislature has to come back. And it's almost like, you know, well, you got rid of this, we need to put it back. Well, you want this, but if you want this, then you got to give me that. And that's not the best way to do this. And I've always said that during my time here in the Capitol.
So you don't think she's really serious?
Well, I think the problem is that she would even take this direction right now. When you consider that education is such an important priority in the state and the many challenges that face education and those involved in it, this is the wrong message to be sending. And
I guess the question that I'm asking is, she's changing the way schools are funded. What is the plan?
So there's two aspects to this. Well, first of all, it's a bad image to set, right?
Yeah.
If you're really going to tell people how important this is and how we want to invest in our students and our schools, then this isn't the right leadership approach. So I concur with the congressional GOP delegation and appreciate their support because we said this from day one. And it's actually a bipartisan right now collaboration that is taking place against the initial proposal by the governor. I've had an opportunity over the last couple of weeks to really heighten this. In fact, we brought all of our area superintendents in this week, and they met with the chair of the Senate Education Committee, and Assemblywoman Buttshaw was able to facilitate a meeting with the Assembly chair of the Education Committee, Assemblyman Benedetto and Senator Mayer. They had an opportunity, and we're going to do the same. We met with the teachers with NYSET in Albany this week. I actually had a very good conversation with the Commissioner of Education, Commissioner Rosa. So the proposal is the following. What the governor has done, I'm just trying to give you the whole totality.
Yes.
But the proposal basically does two things. She cuts, there's a save harmless provision in the aid right now for school districts. Even though they're fully funding foundation aid, there's a lot of technical aspects to this. And some districts do not receive sufficient funding as a result of that. So it was always a built-in, it's like a hold harmless clause, always a built-in amount of money or guarantee that you were going to receive some additional money each year. Now, the reason for that, think about it, just like in your own home, prices go up.
Right, you're trying to plan on...
Right, well, you got utilities and
you're
budgeting, correctly. You got staffing issues, all of these retirement contributions.
Yep.
So, and So that's an issue, and they had this built in. So she got rid of that. No more save harmless. So all these school districts immediately lost money. Then after that, she decided to change the way they were going to allocate the money from using the consumer price index to CPI, which you see is rising, obviously, because of inflation and other factors. She then wanted to go to an 8-year average to look at school districts over the last 8 years, and let's calculate. So essentially what she was doing is trying to decrease aid to education. It amounts to over $413 million that schools will be losing. So 50% of the school districts across the state are losing money this year. Another 50% are being held okay or getting some money.
Would this be for the current budget, their current budget that they're working the runs right now?
Correct.
Wow.
It would be for the state fiscal year 24-25.
Okay.
But remember, school districts begin in July of last year.
Correct.
And are trying to end right now. So it's a bad proposal. Again, we're.
But you feel it's dead on arrival.
At this point in time,
okay.
yeah.
All right, we'll get into more of that in a second, and I know that there's also been some legislation here in New York designed to protect kids when it comes to social media. And if you were watching at the congressional level yesterday, they had all the biggies there, including Mark Zuckerberg. On the line right now from Fox News Radio is Ryan Schmelz with an update on that. There was some hammering going on. In fact, one senator, Lindsey Graham, said to Zuckerberg and everybody else, "You have blood on your hands." Ryan, good morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. And yes, that was just one of the very fiery moments from yesterday. We should probably also point out that after Senator Graham made that comment, he did get an applause from the crowd there. And then later you had Senator Josh Hawley from Missouri actually look at Zuckerberg and ask him to stand up and apologize to all the families there. And Zuckerberg actually did it.
And he did it, yeah.
Now, we should probably, but he said he didn't really take responsibility or, claim responsibility for what had happened to those families, but he did apologize for what they have been through and that they had to lose loved ones the way they did.
So I'm going to be the outlier on this, and we have State Senator Joe Griffo in studio. Joe, say hi to Ryan Schmelz.
Good morning, Ryan.
Joe Griffo.
Hey, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good.
I'm going to be the outlier, and everything that was talked about yesterday, we have known, which is why for years and years, what have the advocates been telling parents? Make sure you have a password on your kids. Don't let your kids just use social media unchallenged. Make sure you keep an eye on them because there are evil people out there. And it just does seem that these are terrible people who found a new platform that are taking advantage of it. I'm not sure it's all that the social media itself is all at fault here. Where are the parents to say, I'm keeping track of what you're watching or what you're viewing or what you're doing online?
Well, and what's interesting, too, is, and I think we might want to push back on maybe some things we didn't know. One thing that was interesting that may be new to a lot of people was, we haven't really heard too much from X since Elon Musk took over, at least on a congressional level. And they had the new CEO of X, who was hired by Elon Musk, speaking yesterday. And I believe what she was touching on was that they've put in these new child sexual exploitation policies since Musk took over, and they've suspended nearly 500% more the number of accounts they did when Elon Musk took over because they found so many accounts that were in violation of these policies. So I think that might be a takeaway people might have that say, okay, well, maybe tech companies are doing something. And a lot of them spoke about the different investments that they're making. Zuckerberg said that he's putting billions in when it comes to that. But I think obviously you lack of trust when it comes to social media companies, and that's why you see bipartisan pieces of legislation like the Kids Online Safety Act, which is a bipartisan bill with, I believe, over 15 co-sponsors, and over half the Senate has signed on to it so far now. And this would essentially establish certain guidelines for social media companies when it comes to allowing minors to use their platforms.
Yeah. Again, I just do wonder at what point are the parents somewhat responsible? I mean, how many times can these experts come out and say there are child predators out there? Don't just give your kid a phone, send them to bed, and let them have their way on social media. They're going to run into some very, very bad people. And I'm not sure we should be certainly everyone that was in that audience had something horrific happen to one of their kids. And we all sympathize with that.
I hate to use right, exactly. And I hate to use this as an example, but I mean, this is a small thing that my parents did when I was young, when I was using MySpace. And essentially, was, you know, my friends and I would shoot these funny videos when we were in middle school, and we had one where two guys were yelling the F word, and my parents pretty much looked at us and said, like, you can't be putting this online. There are people out there who might take this the wrong way and might target you.
Yeah.
Obviously, this won't be good for your career if this is ever seen by an employer. And they just had this long talk with us about what you should and shouldn't be putting on social media. And I still remember, I'm 32 now, or 31 now, and, you know, I still remember that talk about, you know, one of the first social media platforms that was out there.
Yeah, MySpace. Forgot all about that.
MySpace.
Well, that's going to come back to haunt you now, Ryan. You might be losing your job this week. They went all the way back to when you were 11, and they found that on MySpace. So, all right, very interesting. But it sounds like your parents were on top of it. And, you know, even as early as back then, we knew the dangers of this. But by just allowing your kids to go off and take their cell phone into their bedrooms, and who knows what happens. You, at that point, have connection to the entire world, good and bad. And I hope we understand that there is some responsibility at home, just like there should be responsibility when it comes to, you know, these social media platforms putting in safeguards to protect people. So, interesting stuff. Ryan, thank you. I remember watching that video thinking, boy, this kid's going to go nowhere. And look at you today.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm happy you've been following my career that long.
I have. Yes, been going on a long time. A little creepy. Doesn't that sound a little creepy?
No comment.
All right. Ryan, have a wonderful day. Thanks for the time. We appreciate it.
Hey, you too. Thank you.
All right.
I think Ryan handled that pretty well.
He did.
Considering how you approached it with him.
So, but listen, I understand it's horrible what happens to people. But are we surprised? Should we be surprised that this stuff is happening? You have such awesome technology that does so many good things, and any time that exists, there's going to be someone evil out there trying to take advantage of it.
Well, I think you have dual responsibility, as you indicated.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
There's a responsibility in the industry, and there's a responsibility at home. And quite honestly, it's amazing. I mean, when you look at this from a societal perspective and even a clinical perspective, maybe when you talk to pediatric physicians and things of that nature, it seems like children, you know, toddlers right now know how to use a device, which is just amazing. And yet you have older parents that are sometimes still struggling with that.
Yeah,
you hear the joke right now. You go to your teenager, right, to tell you what to do with the phone. But that is an issue that I think we need to make sure parents are much more engaged, but also much more aware and understanding of what it can do. I mean, some can, younger parents maybe can, older parents maybe have more challenges in that regard. But as an industry, too, I think there's an obligation and responsibility to act responsibly.
Yeah, I agree.
In that, so.
And, you know, you can look at it the other side, look at it another way, and certainly if social media is able to do such an amazing job of figuring out that you just looked up the word hibachi, and now every ad you see on all your social media is another version of a hibachi they're trying to sell you. If they're able to do that, they probably should be able to figure out somebody is showing their genitals online, and they're doing it to an underage kid.
Well, in this particular instance, one of the examples that was cited last night on the national news, I believe that did happen in a sense that law enforcement was aware of this perpetrator, and that's one of the mothers and was able to contact.
I saw that on NBC, and it was Homeland Security that reached out to her and said, we're just letting you know we just got a guy who had an airline ticket and your daughter's name, and he was heading to your house, and we intercepted.
And that's one of the, and I mean, these are tragedies, and there has to be passion in this, as you saw demonstrated yesterday on Capitol Hill in D.C. But there's also something here that people have to understand is those who are evil and conduct this type of behavior or undertake this behavior, find ways to, no matter what you do relative to technology,
It's true.
they find a way to get around that.
Yeah.
We've seen that in calls, that unwanted robocalls that people get. We've seen it, if you remember, when we were dealing with bath salts and things of that nature, that they would always find a way. And too bad.
Listen, bad people aren't necessarily stupid.
Right.
Now, some bad people are stupid. But a lot of bad people are very, very smart and very, very creative.
Devious.
And find ways to get whatever they crave. And that's pretty dangerous. So hold on, Joe. We have more to get to here this morning. Senator Joe Griffo sitting in here this morning. This is the job he's really always wanted. Let's just be honest.
Do I get into some real estate too?
You could do that too.
I
believe it's a prerequisite.
Yeah,
you become a River Hills real estate agent. Let me break, Davey. We'll come right back here. It is first day of February, 6:46 a.m. at WIBX.
A lot of Kanoli's energy started to bounce back.
She has a lot of puppy moments, and she'll be 14 this summer.
What did these dog parents do for their dogs? They switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-size bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-294-8831 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-294-8831. That's 800-294-8831. What do you have to lose? Call 800-294-8831. Again, 800-294-8831.
You've put off getting a new bed. You really want a new bed. Let's be honest, you probably need a new bed. Kevin Fear from Mattress Express, and I have the answer for you for the new year. Any purchase in the store, $1,500 or more, qualify and sign up and get up to 60 months to pay with no money down. Don't give us a nickel. You heard me right, up to 60 months to pay, no money down. That includes our full lineup of massage chairs. And, yes, it includes Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instinct Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. You can get pre-qualified at mattressexpressny.com. Look for the 15-second Express Credit app. Stop into any store. No appointment necessary. We'd be happy to qualify you in store. And you can call 1-800-NEW-BEDS. See store for details.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
Cliff's Local Market is proud to be your convenience store that keeps you going. We are locally owned and operated by Clifford Fuel, and we're proud to offer local products like Utica coffee with fresh brewed dark Adirondack, along with a seasonal flavor. At Cliff's, you can find Dippin' Donuts, sauce from It's a Utica Thing, and cheeses from River Rat and Grassy Cow. Cliff's Local Market has your favorite pizza made fresh all day with dough from Utica, made to order subs, wraps, and salads, and other healthy local choices. Cliff's Local Market, we keep you going.
As most Americans suffer financially, gold just hit an all-time high. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and this is why you need a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To learn more, text the word SAFEGUARD to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs. Secure your IRA or 401k right now. Text SAFEGUARD to 989898 to request your free info kit right now.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, we have a lot more to talk about here with Senator Joe Griffo in studio. I have some comments.
Hey, are we on TV?
You are on TV, as a
Well,
matter
you're
of fact.
looking pretty sharp. He's styling, Joe. Smitty, isn't he?
Well,
Look at that. He's styling.
it was a little extra time in makeup this morning.
All right.
Yeah.
Did Ellie leave you some special product?
She did, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm still into the Avon stuff. I don't know. Still doing Avon. Yeah. Let's see. The migrants were released without bail. Welcome to the sanctuary liberal city. You get what you vote for. Easy and Ilian says here this morning. We are talking about the attack that happened just outside Times Square in New York on Saturday, Joe.
Outrageous.
They attacked police, and I understand conditions are probably not great, but for God's sakes, they're all staying in former hotels in New York.
The Roosevelt Hotel has become a place. In fact, the hotel we used in Albany has now become a migrant hotel. And
This was not at the Roosevelt. This was at another
it was near
location.
Times Square.
Near
Yeah.
Times Square.
But here's the bottom line here. Again, we've talked about this, and this is something more on a federal level, but we need to secure these borders, period. I mean, how anybody could believe that somebody's talking about millions of people that have come in now that are undocumented just across this porous border, which is I don't know how anybody in any political party could not understand and believe that that's wrong. And now, what do you do next? You have to deal with immigration. And that has to be done from a national perspective and hopefully from both the presidential and the congressional level, where they come together and find a way to implement a policy that makes sense. We've done this in the past. This is not new to the United States. We have a number of waves of immigration. The other
we've
thing that's
also
wrong,
kicked the can down the road decades.
True.
Yeah.
Very true. And there's culpability on both sides.
Yep.
But the bottom line is that there's no policy. But
So,
I think
but,
the one
but
thing
right
we
now,
can,
there's
the
but
one
right
thing,
now there's policy that the Senate has worked out with the president, and the problem you have, number one, is now Republicans are saying it's not far enough. Okay, part two is it does not benefit Donald Trump if they cut a deal, and I hate to say it, Democrats have been to blame for this, and Republicans look like they're to blame for this right now, Joe.
So now you've become, the political season has begun, and unfortunately we're in a perpetual political cycle, unfortunately. And I think
It
that
never
contributes
ends.
to
Yeah,
this failure to obtain good policy,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But in this instance, I think there's one thing that everybody should and could agree on, and that would bring you to more of a potential bipartisan policy on immigration, and that is to close the borders, to secure the borders. If they knew now what they're using, obviously, because they tug at your heart and say these are people who are oppressed.
I understand.
But asylum has become a password. It is not really everybody's using it. There are groups that are taking advantage.
I believe
of this.
there probably are people that are coming in that are seeking asylum that are running from dangerous places in the world. But there's also if there are those people, you know there are people who are also dangerous that are trying to sneak in for nefarious reasons.
But beyond that, it's just that everybody knows who doesn't want a better life. And if they believe this is an opportunity, this has always been a land of opportunity and a place where you go seek a better life, right? This is the essence of America.
Yeah.
So my point is, now they realize that the one way you can get into the door is to say, I'm seeking asylum. So the answer, first and foremost, is secure the border.
But would you agree, though, that there are some that who are legitimate, but there are also some who are not?
Yes, but and the way to do that is to develop an immigration policy that works.
So
and
wouldn't you be better? Wouldn't you be better off allowing the deal to go forward? But think about this.
No, because I don't know what the deal is.
Let me. Of course you don't. But that's okay. You're in the state Senate. My point is, wouldn't you be better putting a deal together? The U.S. Senate Republicans have negotiated. Let me finish with Biden. And then Biden says, if we do it, I'll shut down the border right now. Now you have Biden on record, and you have the rest of the year to be able to point out where he didn't follow through, as opposed to doing nothing, and both sides are culpable.
You don't need a deal to know that there's a problem. So secure the border and then have a deal. That's the way I would approach this. Secure the border and then negotiate a new policy.
Then no deal gets done.
Well, I mean, I think that's the problem, right? Because if you can't acknowledge that having hundreds of thousands of people coming across that border, and now you're seeing a loss of life.
But the other part of this, Joe, is, let's be honest, there are laws that need to be changed.
Yes.
And it needs to come from Congress.
Yes.
And Congress has kicked this down the road.
Yes.
Decade after decade.
Yes.
And there's a chance to do something right now and hold a president accountable.
But in order to get something done now, there's got to be
How can you say it? You don't know what's in the bill. You just told me. You're against it. You don't know what's in it.
I'm telling you what I believe, in my own personal opinion, could and should be done. And I also believe that this is a negotiation. And in a negotiation, not everybody's going to get what they want. But
I
you're going to have
understand
to
that.
try to resolve it. And right now, people are firm. And I think the one thing that there's consensus on from the American people is that the border needs to be secure.
Listen, if you give me the Senate versus the House, it's an easy decision. It's kind of like the New York State Senate versus the crazy assembly people from New York City. It's an easy decision, Joe. Here's Ann in Rome. Ann in Rome, who's your biggest fan.
Good morning, Ann.
Hello, Ann. Good morning.
Good morning. You got that right. I said it before, and I'll say it again. Senator Griffo runs against Trump. Hands down, Senator Griffo.
Boom.
I am appalled with Governor Hot Mess getting on TV last night saying that the illegal immigrants that pummeled two NYPD officers should be deported. Be deported? They were out on the street because the Dems let them come in thousands at a time, and she has her make-believe cashless bail. There is no bail. 5 minutes later, they're back out on the street.
It is interesting.
How can she actually say, I want them deported, when it's her fault that they're out on the street right now?
It is interesting. I'm not sure that she's necessarily to blame for all of that. However, it is interesting how all of this bail reform, all of what's going on, and her answer yesterday about state police was, no, give them more funding. Well, you're talking about something you've done the absolute opposite with.
Yeah, indirectly she is responsible here because she has embraced the concept of a sanctuary state. Even though it's not officially been declared, it was done through executive action, but the city of New York officially designated itself as a sanctuary city. And these are problems right now that we need to understand and accept, that some of the policies that are implemented are contributing to this. So when you have people, and some of the answers now is, well, let's just give them work because we have we have shortages, and that's another issue that we've discussed.
Who are you? Have we vetted these people? And probably not. Right. And I'm going to give you the final word. I have 30 seconds.
I just want to say that's why we can't get any officers the way they're treated. We need to back the blue.
Okay.
Thanks for taking my call. Have a good day, guys.
All right, Ann. There she is.
Take care, Ann.
I got to tell you, why don't we just elect Ann?
Ann would be phenomenal.
Yeah.
Governor Ann.
You going to hang for the rest of the morning?
I thought that was the deal.
It is the deal.
All
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
How, do I get?
I didn't know.
You
if
docked. How much did you dock my pay?
Only a little bit. Only a little bit. And I didn't know if I talked you out of it in this last hour, but I think you're good. You'll be okay. All right. We have news coming up top of the hour, Davey. Fox News, and then Megan Stone with the latest. on WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica, Rome, W295DI Utica, Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
It'll be done in waves. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The U.S. retaliation the president already decided on to hit the Iran-backed militants who attacked the U.S. base in Jordan, killing 3 American soldiers.
But even President Biden has questioned if whatever he has in store will be strong enough to deter future threats. And Iran's military chief is saying pretty much bring it on. Here's that quote. "You know, we do not leave any threats unanswered. While we are not looking for war, we are not afraid of war, and we do not run away from it."
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. The U.S. has hit other Iran-backed militants again as the Houthis keep targeting ships in and around the Red Sea.
Overnight, U.S. Navy Super Hornets launched airstrikes to destroy 10 rebel drones from Iran's rebel army in Yemen. Earlier, USS Carney shot down a ballistic missile using a $5 million interceptor, and one enemy cruise missile got within a mile of the guided missile destroyer USS Gravely, shot down using the ship's close-in weapon systems.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. But the danger Iran poses in the Middle East as the war keeps raging in Gaza is not the biggest one the U.S. faces. The FBI Director Christopher Wray told a House hearing,
China's multi-pronged assault on our national and economic security make it the defining threat of our generation.
He says Chinese hackers keep targeting U.S. infrastructure from power and water to transportation. European leaders have just agreed to help Ukraine some more in the war against Russia, approving another $54 billion aid package as new U.S. military assistance for Ukraine remains held up in Congress in a dispute over U.S. border security. Last night, the House approved a $79 billion tax cut bill that will increase the child tax credit. A deadly accident in Boise, Idaho, at a hangar being built at the airport.
This structure collapsed and it did impact the crane, and so the crane is collapsed as well.
Boise Fire Division Chief Aaron Hummel, 3 people were killed. America's listening to Fox News.
Hey, to social engineering and leftist corporations, do they make you feel like we're kind of living in the Twilight Zone? Well, you're not alone. Now, our friends at Pure Talk, my wireless company, they know the silent majority is fed up, and I'm calling on all of those Americans, stand with a company that champions your values. The average family is saving almost $1,000 a year. Dial pound 250, say the keyword save now. Do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month from our friends at Pure Talk.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. Your savings could be at risk. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress. This jeopardizes you and your family. But there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Gold. Safety for uncertain times.
A loss in court for former President Trump in Britain, where a judge dismissed his lawsuit against a company founded by Christopher Steele, the ex-British secret agent who compiled the now infamous dossier in 2016 the FBI used in part, forming the Trump-Russia investigation that included unverified allegations the former president called shocking and scandalous and part of a witch hunt. This as attempts continue to kick him off another ballot, which he calls undemocratic and election interference.
Just hours after the Illinois Board of Elections voted unanimously to keep former President Trump on the primary ballot, a legal fight began. Several voters and a national advocacy group argue, as plaintiffs have in other states, that the former president is ineligible to run under the Constitution's insurrection clause. The U.S. Supreme Court hears a Colorado case next week. In Illinois, one Republican member of the election board said she believed then-President Trump instigated an insurrection, but that it wasn't her place to rule on the ballot question after a retired judge told the panel they should leave it to the courts. The challenge filed in Cook County Circuit Court says the board does have the authority to decide eligibility. Lisa Brady, Fox News.
A new Quinnipiac poll has former President Trump 6 points behind President Biden in a potential 2024 rematch, which is different than other polls that have shown a Trump lead. Now, President Biden will gather with lawmakers next hour at the National Prayer Breakfast. Then later he'll campaign in Michigan, where they'll have the third Democratic primary, February 27th. South Carolina's is the first one Democrats will recognize coming up this Saturday. We'll have to wait longer for interest rates to come down.
The economy has made good progress toward our dual mandate objectives. Inflation has eased from its highs without a significant increase in unemployment. That's very good news. But inflation is still too high.
So Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell says a rate cut may not come until at least May, which sent stocks tumbling. The Dow and the NASDAQ both dropped more than 300 points, but this morning, stock futures are rising. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
It is 7:05 and 33 degrees here in downtown Utica. Your news is brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts, presenting Standards and Stories with Tony Danza, April 6, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now through Ticketmaster. A New York City resident is under arrest after being found with a massive amount of drugs in Syracuse. According to police, Javon Henry traveled from the Big Apple to the area earlier this week and had 8 pounds of cocaine that he was planning to distribute. But Henry was met at a hotel by DEA agents who then took him into custody. Henry is set to be in court for a bail hearing on Friday. The state's Senate Transportation Committee has started debate on legislation aimed at improving limousine safety. One measure calls for limos to be removed from the road after 10 years or 350,000 miles. Another bill would extend the state limousine passenger task force and allow members to work through the end of 2025. Limo safety has been a major topic at the Capitol since a crash back in October 2018 took the lives of 20 people. When it comes to getting married, the tri-state isn't getting high marks in a recent survey. Wallet Hub looked at 183 cities to find the best and worst places to tie the knot. New York City came in at 103, Jersey City at 162, Newark 171, and Yonkers at 172nd. Wallet Hub said it looked at key indicators including wedding friendliness, costs, hotels, and event spaces. Number 1 on the list was Orlando, Florida. With New York State cracking down on car thefts, the DMV recovered nearly 300 stolen vehicles statewide in 2023. Governor Hochul says DMV investigators seized 286 stolen vehicles valued at more than $8.5 million, with last year's recoveries up 67% from 2021. Nearly 150 of those cars were recovered in New York City, and 42 were found on Long Island, while another 29 were seized in western New York. DMV investigators also picked up 157 stolen auto parts, nearly twice the number recovered in 2022. Today in history, in 1790, the U.S. Supreme Court convened for the first time in New York, but because only 3 of its 6 justices were present, recessed until the next day. Your Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, dry, cloudy early, then spotty sprinkles and wet flurries by lunchtime. Rain and wet snow showers become numerous by late afternoon and evening, near 40. Tonight, rain and wet snow showers change to snow showers, coating to an inch, low near 32. And tomorrow, lake flakes fizzle early, then drier for the afternoon, breezy, colder, high of 36. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
It's 7:08, 33 degrees in downtown Utica, and it's time for your sports update, courtesy of the IBEW 43 local sports desk. The Seahawks brass have decided on who will be their franchise's next head coach. ESPN reports that Seattle is hiring former Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald as the team's new head coach. Macdonald is receiving a 6-year contract and immediately becomes the youngest head coach in NFL history at 36 years old. The Packers have found their next defensive coordinator. ESPN reports Jeff Hafley is expected to become the new DC in Green Bay. He'll be the 3rd different defensive coordinator under head coach Matt LaFleur, who's entering his 6th season in Green Bay. The Jets have made a change to their front office. According to the New York Post, Gang Green and assistant general manager Rex Hogan have agreed to part ways. He has been general manager to Joe Douglas's right-hand man since being hired in June 2019. The Nets were unable to earn their 3rd straight win after falling to the Phoenix Suns 136-120 at Barclays. Brooklyn is now 4th in the Atlantic Division at 19-28 and will visit the Philadelphia 76ers Saturday night. And the Knicks are hoping to extend their winning streak to 9 games. New York continues its 6th-game homestead when it hosts the Indiana Pacers tonight at Madison Square Garden. New York is currently 2nd in the Atlantic Division at 31-17. And donations are continuing to pour in to replace a destroyed Jackie Robinson statue in Kansas. The total raised through the online fundraiser has surpassed $140,000, which is much more than the estimated $75,000 bronze statue that was cut down from its base last week in a park. Police are still searching for those responsible. It is 7:09 WIBX 950 AM 106.9 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, Senator Joe Griffo in studio with us here this morning. We'll talk more. Also, later on in the hour, in studio, Bob Inglis, former congressman, a Republican from South Carolina, may be changing his mind when it comes to climate change. We'll speak with him coming up in a few. Hold tight at WIBX.
Cliff's Local Market is proud to be your convenience store that keeps you going. We are locally owned and operated by Clifford Fuel, and we're proud to offer local products like Utica coffee with fresh brewed dark Adirondack, along with a seasonal flavor. At Cliff's, you can find Dippin' Donuts, sauce from It's a Utica Thing, and cheeses from River Rat and Grassy Cow. Cliff's Local Market has your favorite pizza made fresh all day with dough from Utica, made to order subs, wraps, and salads, and other healthy local choices. Cliff's Local Market, we keep you going.
Whitesboro Central School District is looking for bus drivers to join their team. Whitesboro is a leading school system in central New York. With 7 schools, 3,100 students, and holding a 92% graduation rate, you can help drive our students' success. When you drive for Whitesboro, you get great benefits, a flexible schedule, and summers off. Perfect for retirees with extra time. Help drive our future leaders with Whitesboro Central School Transportation. Call Andy at 315-768-9740 or stop by the garage, 20 Wood Road, Whitesboro.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Why get an updated COVID vaccine? If you're 65 or older, a COVID vaccine can keep you out of the hospital. And if you have heart disease, a COVID vaccine can help you stay healthy. With COPD or other lung diseases, getting a COVID vaccine can keep you off a ventilator. Anyone can get severely ill from COVID. But some people are more at risk. Know your risk and make sure you're up to date on your COVID vaccine. A message from the New York State Health Department.
Adirondack Home Furniture's Flex Steel Big Game Sale is going on now, but only for a limited time. Hurry in for discounts up to 15% off select sofas, recliners, occasional pieces, and leather furniture. With hundreds of designer fabrics to choose from, your new piece is guaranteed to have the look you want. Stop dreaming and start creating the home of your dreams with quality, long-lasting Flex Steel furniture from Adirondack Home Furniture. Beauty and comfort is made to last with Flex Steel's exclusive lifetime warranty blue steel spring seating. Stop into Adirondack Home Furniture today and save up to 15% during their big game sale. Visit their Flex Steel gallery for the best selection of Flex Steel furniture on sale. The best value and top quality furniture for your home is at Adirondack Home Furniture. You don't want to miss out on the Flex Steel big game sale at Adirondack Home Furniture. Hurry in, sale ends soon. Located at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica.
A massive data leak, being called the mother of all breaches, has been announced. Billions upon billions of records with sensitive data from previous breaches, newly stolen data, and privately sold databases have been exposed. Cybercriminals can use this information to commit identity theft. Help protect yourself and join the millions who trust LifeLock. LifeLock detects identity threats and alerts you if your information is being used. If you become a victim, LifeLock will work to fix it. Save up to 25% your first year with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com.
Navage provides quick, drug-free nasal relief this time of year when everyone is sick. Navage helps by sucking out germs, bacteria, and viruses trapped in our noses that cause us to feel miserable. And come allergy season, it does the same with dust, pollen, and other allergens. And unlike medications that can take time to help, Navage helps treat congestion symptoms in seconds flat. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
So during the week, Andrew's off basking in the sunshine somewhere on a cruise ship, probably getting COVID, I assume, right? Geez. And each day we have a new co-host in, and it's...
I hear Manaski was back.
Manaski, and he'll wrap up the week tomorrow, as a matter of fact, yeah. So in this morning is Senator Joe Griffo talking about this the attack on police officers in just down from Times Square, and this was bad. This is not a This is they were beating up on two police officers.
Yeah, and you're going to hear people say, well, you're trying to politicize the issue now because this could happen with anybody. Well, there's two issues here. Number one, that this is a migrant-related issue. And
Yeah.
that does bring it back to the whole debate that we're having about policies and how these individuals are being just let into the country with no vetting at all. And then secondly, some of the policies that have been implemented that have been contributing to, in my opinion, and the people that we talk to, some of the challenges that law enforcement is facing. When you arrest somebody and release them, it's like a catch and release. People then believe that they can get away with it. Or some of the unfortunate violence that we're seeing by younger people right now related to raise the age and how they know some of these gangs are perpetrating crimes based on the fact and enticing these young people, knowing that, well, you won't get any significant sentence because you'll be able to avoid.
Well, what that is doing is it's taking away the you're taking away, and maybe it doesn't exist. Maybe these kids are hardened at age 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, but you're taking away the childhood, the innocence of this kid. And that kid, you're going to have a hard time getting back after that.
Absolutely. And there's got to be a deterrent factor here. There's got to be a consequence to bad behavior. And I think that's what we're losing right now. I mean, look at the policies that we've seen implemented under one-party control. You've seen bail right now where there's not first of all, I'm not opposed to reforming the criminal justice system. It's just that it should be done the right way, and you should have the involvement and the engagement of the stakeholders, like law enforcement, criminal defense attorneys, prosecutors, but that was not done.
Yeah.
So now what you have is policies like bail, which is catch and release, no bail, essentially, in most instances. You have clean slate, where now you're wiping away their records, and I have no problem giving people second chances, but when you're talking about some of the felonies now that are going to just be wiped clean and nobody will ever know, these are all raise the age issues. The idea, the concept was not bad in trying to address some of the things that were wrong.
Were there problems?
Yeah,
most of them were downstate.
But there's still problems that need to be addressed generally.
They should be addressed.
But don't you do it with the people involved? If I'm going to talk about radio, I'm going to talk to you. You understand the business better than I do.
I know everything.
That's what Smitty said.
That's what he says. Right, Davey? Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
There's Davey. It just seems that this is that pendulum, and it'll swing one way and it swings the other, and now it has swung to a position to the left that is so far crazy that it is affecting all of us. It is making it. Now, they'll come in and give you statistics that show that violent crime is down. And you know what? It is down. The problem you have, though, is police are running around chasing. First of all, maybe you change what a violent crime is. That's also possible. And you have police running around chasing people shoplifting day in, day out. They're doing it day in, day out, and they're not going to jail for it.
And that's another interesting perspective. And we were ahead of the curve here. We convened a group, and we actually had the former superintendent of state police here, along with the police chiefs, the mayors, the county executive, the sheriff, the DA, everybody in the business community. It started with Mark Sinatry talking about some of the challenges and problems. And now you see finally the state is the governor saying that this is a problem. Well, what took so long?
Right.
But we're glad you at least are now acknowledging it. The question is, what actions will we take that can prevent this? And the more this becomes prevalent and they know they can get away with it, it's not just organized retail theft.
Yeah.
And you've seen that just here locally.
Mm-hmm.
You saw it in New Hartford and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just outrageous. So it's not only a pendulum, in my opinion, Bill, it's actually a mindset right now. And you have people thinking, like, I can get away with this, so I'm going to do this. And that's wrong. And as a society, we cannot allow that, and there has to be a consequence of that, and as a result, hopefully a deterrent.
So the other big issue that a lot of people, and we look at it a little differently too, upstate, when it comes to the jails and the prisons up here, it is an employment issue. That is one aspect.
And the other, it isn't.
Okay, well, explain.
So, and you learned this.
What I'm saying is, if you close prisons, people lose their jobs.
Correct.
That's my point.
Correct, but they're saying right now because of the shortages everywhere that nobody will lose their job because there's enough available positions where people can just transfer. So
first of all, if you live and you've lived your whole life in a certain community and they want you to transfer halfway across the state, that's not going to be an easy situation either.
Excellent point. And I'm only going down a path right now because I agree with you, but I'm just saying we can't use the jobs as an argument.
Right.
And you remember this when we fought the BRAC fights here. We learned a valuable lesson. We did everything the right way, but in the end we understood that there was subjectivity and some political nature to this.
Sure.
So as a result of it, we had to fight on merit. So I had the opportunity to have the Commissioner of Corrections in my office, the acting commissioner, last week. And he came in and asked to meet with me because he'll be under consideration for confirmation by the Senate. And we had a very good discussion because I'm concerned about, and I have visited a number of these facilities, both announced and unannounced, which we have the ability to do while in office.
Yeah.
And because I don't want, it's not that we're trying to catch him. I just want to see the circumstances and the situation.
When they don't expect you to
When
come.
they don't expect you, they're not prepared.
Yep.
And they're aware of this because he was aware of it. And we had a very good conversation because I'm concerned about what's taking place in those facilities with the employees, the violence inside the facilities against correctional officers, which is unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that is because of the elimination of HALT, which was a way to confine people and punish them for undertaking and doing violent acts while they're in prison. And also the clinical staff, the nurses, who have been subjected to fentanyl and things of that nature. So we talked about what can and should be done relative to protecting those who are serving this state and working in some very dangerous conditions and circumstances.
So what's the answer?
Well, the answer is different policies, like a secure vendor, so that we make sure they're not bringing in,
Well, what was his answer?
Well, his answer is they're working in this regard, and to his credit, he was the former executive deputy commissioner, so he is been there for a while, where they're looking at trying to make sure that people are not bringing in, illegal items to the prison. And you'd be surprised at the ways that they try to bring.
Did we just find somebody who had marijuana? He was toking it up in his jail cell.
Probably.
This week.
But the way they get it in is the amazing way, And he also talked about.
I don't even want to think about that.
About what?
How they get it in.
Oh, yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And we talked about mail, things of that nature. So packages, even visitation when people come in to see.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things that can and should be done from a policy perspective. Then we got onto the closure issue. And that's where I was trying to go with this with you is to say that we want to make, and I told them I'm going to make an argument on merit for the facilities, particularly in this region. And these facilities are doing a number of things. There's a pharmacy hub. There's a food hub. There's a medical hub. There's actually a canine training facility here. The mental health services that are provided. So I believe that these facilities in the central New York area are going to be able to stand strong on performance. And not only are the jobs important here, and the people need to stay within the community that they live instead of traveling long distances, But then the governor's perspective here, she's going to save $77 million by doing this. They've saved over $400 million over the last decade, closing over 20 prisons, and now there's excess capacity. But the problem is there's excess capacity because we're not really holding people accountable for consequence for illegal behavior. And beyond that, $77 million this year pales in consideration that she went and dipped into the reserve fund for $500 million to bring $2.4 billion to New York City for migrants, saying that what's a crisis? Well, there's a crisis in education, and you just robbed $400 million out of the kids, and now you're going to save 77. Look at that number, about 410 in education, 70 5 or 7 in corrections. That comes up to almost $500 million, right?
Right.
So she'll go into the reserves to take that money to send for migrant activity, but not to take care of
safety and kids' education
and public safety.
Starting
to sound a little like Bill Clinton here.
Are we? You do a little. Are we safe? Are the jails here safe?
Are they safe in the sense that?
Are they going to be on? Are we going to get a closure?
On closure, I mean, they're going to make the decisions in June, effectuate them in September. The difference from her proposal and the former governor was the former governor had an economic assistance package for those communities to transition.
Yeah.
This governor has not done that. And I believe, and I will continue to advocate working with our local delegation here, bipartisan, in the Assembly with Assembly members Buttonshaw and Miller and Smullen, Blankenbush. We're all going to continue to advocate and try to ensure people understand that on merit, these facilities are important to the correctional system and undertake a significant role in trying to ensure that operations are smooth.
So to clarify, because I've got Lance and Lee, your buddy here, saying so losing 500 corrections jobs along with 200 to 300 support staff is not an employment loss to the area. I don't think you said that. What you said is that's not the argument we should be making. Right. You're looking for a winning argument to keep it open here.
Exactly. Any job loss is a problem and unacceptable, Lance.
Yeah.
If Lance is really Lance. But the
Lance, are you really Lance?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But or does he really live in Lee? You know, it could be Rocco from Rome pretty soon or something.
Okay.
But anyway, the point is, yes, jobs are important. But if you remember, Andrew Cuomo once said, prisons are not intended to be a job program. So I want to take the fight on merit to say we're not fighting just to keep jobs. We're fighting because the jobs here are doing what needs to be done within a correctional service.
Well, so,
right?
So what you're talking about is a strategy to keep it open.
Exactly.
And if we say we're going to lose these jobs, that will not work in swing.
Yeah, you can't just say we don't want to close these because these are going to hurt our economy.
Right.
Obviously, we don't want to lose jobs. Obviously, any job loss is going to impact the economy.
Sure.
But what I want to do is make an argument on merit why these particular facilities and the jobs associated with them are important part of the system.
In other words, coming up with an effective winning argument.
Absolutely. Mission effective and cost effective.
Okay. There you go, Lance. I'm sure I'll hear back. It's 7:27. Stand by. Coming up, Hobica's free money question of the day. Also this morning, Davey, we're going to do former Congressman Bob Inglis will be in studio talking. He's on a panel actually here locally. It's going to be very interesting for you, Joe, as well. He describes himself as a one-time denier of climate change and feels that there's an opportunity here that the GOP must take. That'll be worth getting into.
Also want to talk about what the FBI director said yesterday in Capitol Hill, because everybody was focused on the tech companies, but I think what he said was a very important subject that we should all be paying attention to.
I mean, right down to our water supply, our and our
power grid.
Our power grid is not owned by an American company.
Food.
It's owned by a British company. Now, I think we're okay with the Brits. However, I'm a little uncomfortable selling our power grids to foreign companies, personally. John in Bridgewater with a question. Hi, John. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Hey, Mr. Griffel, I got a question for you.
Sure.
New York State scratch-offs. Last year was a record year for New York. Now, a percentage of that money is supposed to go towards schools, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what percentage it is?
I don't have the new statistics or data on that, John. And I've had this discussion with the lottery in the past because they'll show you how the percentage that is required continues to go into education. But I understand your argument because we've made the same, saying, well, you're telling people this is all going towards education, but in the end, there's still all these great needs that are in education.
Yep.
The governor continues to cut the budget. So I don't have the new data on that. We could find that if you want to give my office a call.
All right.
But again, you're right. It's a good point.
And why are they throwing it into a general fund? That's what they're doing? They're throwing that money into the general fund so nobody can keep track of it, right? Or no?
To a certain extent, they do, but they also have a dedicated fund so they can show that this is the percentage that is going towards education.
John, what's really at the point that you're trying to make is not enough of the money is going into your pocket. When was the last time you had a big win? When was the last time?
I'm not in it to win, but when they say that a percentage goes towards the school taxes, and every year the schools keeps getting stuck with the bill.
Yeah.
Why don't New York spend some of that money that they're raking in on the scratch-offs? That's all. Anyways.
Hold on.
They need more winners, too, because I'm on a losing streak.
Well, now it comes out.
All right.
Now the truth comes out. I was looking for it. Man. Thank you for your honesty.
Bye,
all right, John, thank you.
So that's a good point.
I was joking, by the way.
No, that's a good point John raised, though. In fact, we use mail to survey, inform, and report to the public. That's the way we've done that. And we did a mailer that way one time where we showed the different things like the lottery and how it's used. Gas taxes and how they're distributed.
Yeah.
So those are all important things, and we need to do that again maybe to let people know.
You wonder how it should be full transparency. If you're saying the lottery goes to benefit education, it should be right out there. It should be in a report. And I'm sure maybe it is, but where is it?
But the point is, what's the percentage of it? Because they'll say some of it has to be undertaken for administration and operations, and then some.
Well, it'd be nice if they gave some of it back to the people.
And if you remember, that was one of the arguments that we had when we were trying to preserve jobs in our area for Vernon Downs. And Mr. Gorell wanted a different percentage, so some of the people in Albany, the staff people there in the legislature would say, the majority, well, that's going to be less money that can go to education, because this is money that we go to education. Well, now you're trying to balance that with jobs too, right? Because he's just saying, give me a fair shake here.
Right,
you're giving incentives to Del Lago and things like that, but yet you're not helping me. So, and he made his argument, in my mind, was salient and significant, and as a result, we were able to accomplish that for him.
Rob says it's about time there's somebody in the studio to push back on your liberal nonsense.
Thanks, Rob.
Rob is delusional. I think that's how I responded to him. So, all right, I got a break. 7:32. Hold tight. We'll do Habakkuk's free money question of the day coming right up.
Actually, I enjoy when you have Lou on. You call him
it's
liberal
nice to
Lou,
hear the other
but
side.
At least Lou gives a perspective. May not agree with him, but he's willing to.
He stands by his beliefs. How annoying that might be, however annoying it might be, he stands by those beliefs. 7:32 now at WIBX.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
You know, honey, the first time you said, never let a Windows salesperson into your home, I thought you were nuts. But you were right.
Like there was really any doubt.
Seriously, so many people have told us how nice it is to shop in our beautiful showroom, where there's never any high pressure.
Yep, and it's even nicer when we can help people save.
Like right now, buy 2 New York Sash windows and get 1 free.
We get slow during the winter, and we need to stay busy, so you get the best deal we make all year. Buy 2 windows, get 1 free.
Buy 4, get 2 free.
Buy 6 windows, get 3 free. There's no end to the savings.
And there's no need to invite a pushy salesperson into your home. Instead, stop by the New York Sash Idea and Design Center, where you can browse at your convenience.
We're open Monday through Saturday on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro.
Buy 2 windows, get 1 free. But it ends Monday, so come in today. And as always,
let our family take care of your family.
Tomorrow and Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater, the classic film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Starring Academy Award winner Spencer Tracy, Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier, Academy Award winner Katharine Hepburn. Introducing Katherine Houghton.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Tomorrow and Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater, part of the Minority Film Series. Made possible by a grant from the Community Foundation of Oneida and Herkimer Counties. For more details, visit romecapital.com.
At Consumer Cellular, you get the same exact coverage as the largest carriers, but for up to half the cost. Same thing, up to half the cost. Up to half the cost for the same thing. 50% the money for 100% the same thing. I hope I'm making myself clear. Consumer Cellular. When freedom calls, we're here to answer. Call us at 1-888-FREEDOM.
Half the cost savings based on cost of consumer cellular single-line 5 GB data plan with unlimited talk and text compared to lowest cost single-line postpaid unlimited talk, text, and data plan offered by T-Mobile and Verizon May 2023.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
Hey, it's time for Hobica's free money question of the day. Every day we give you a chance to win dough, money, Joe Griffo. And this morning, it'll be $200 on the line here for this Thursday. And, Davey, we're looking for caller number 3. Can we do that? Are you good with that?
Sure.
Third caller through the lines right now. 315-736-0186. Caller 3.
What's our subject today?
I don't give that away until we get there.
Oh.
Otherwise, the subject becomes Google. Very quickly. We got to make it a competition. Caller 3, your chance to win. Quickly, the official coffee of the Keeler in the Morning radio program is Seattle's best from Daylight Donuts. It is so good. Coffee, espresso, lattes, iced coffee, fresh bagels, fresh donuts every single day, made right on the premises. And it's a drive-thru that's lightning fast. Daylight Donuts in New Hartford.
Imagine a world where animals and humans coexist in harmony, where wild animals thrive, habitats are protected, and marginalized communities are empowered. At International Animal Rescue, this is our vision. Our holistic, community-led projects not only rescue animals, but also protect and replenish precious habitats, creating a better future for us all. But we can't do this without you. Show your support now and help keep the wild. Visit internationalanimalrescue.org.
You've put off getting a new bed. You really want a new bed. Let's be honest, you probably need a new bed. Kevin Fear from Mattress Express, and I have the answer for you for the new year. Any purchase in the store, $1,500 or more, qualify and sign up and get up to 60 months to pay with no money down. Don't give us a nickel. You heard me right, up to 60 months to pay, no money down. That includes our full lineup of massage chairs. And, yes, it includes Tempur-Pedic, Stearns & Foster, Purple, Puffy, the Smart Bed by Instant Comfort, Posh and Lavish, and more. You can get pre-qualified at mattressexpressny.com. Look for the 15-second Express Credit app. Stop into any store. No appointment necessary. We'd be happy to qualify you in store. And you can call 1-800-NEW-BEDS. See store for details.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, here we go. Every day at this time, the Hobica Law Firm gives you a chance to win some money. And this morning, it's $200 on the line as we kick off February. Hobica Law Firm, 315-724-1600 for all of your legal needs. And, Joe, you asked the category, right?
Sure.
You like to know the category? Who's our caller, Davey?
Bill in Rome.
Oh, Bill in Rome. Hello, William. Good morning.
Good morning.
You all right? You're all business, it sounds like.
I'm fine.
All right, okay.
He's just prepping
Don't
for the
go
question.
screwing with me. Don't go screwing with me. All right, here we go. This comes from the category, which is It's on TV. It's on TV.
As seen on TV?
Here is your question. 7 seconds to answer. Which artist has won the most Grammys? Ready, go. It's on TV.
Taylor Swift.
Is it the Kelsey's favorite Taylor Swift? The answer is you're almost close. I mean, you're close. You're kind of close. But it is Beyonce. She has won 32 Grammys. You can put them right there, Davey. 32 Grammys. It's unbelievable. The Grammys are on CBS on Sunday night. All right, stand by, Bill. We're going to give you the all-in-one food and fun card. It's good at any of the restaurants associated with the Comets, Aquavino, Babes, 72 Tavern and Grill, the Tailor and the Cook, and any of the concession stands over there as well. And Davey's going to hook you up, so stand by, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Bill.
Beyonce's got more
Bill
than Jay-Z, huh?
Beyonce has 32 Grammys. Sir George Solti has 31. I have no idea.
Who's that?
I don't know. Quincy Jones is number 3. Alison Krauss is number 4 with 27.
Is that Jerry Krause's sister?
Could be. All right, in studio right now, he is a former congressman, once a congressman, always a congressman, former Republican congressman from South Carolina, Bob Inglis. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
This is New York State Senator Joe Griffo.
Hey, Congressman, good morning.
Good to meet you. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you, too. I have some friends in South Carolina. I knew your former mayor of Charleston, Joe Riley, because I'm a former mayor.
Yes.
And then I don't know if you know Representative Neil Collins.
Yes,
he's a state
I
rep.
do.
So,
I sure do.
Yeah.
That's
good
great.
to have you.
Well, thanks for
Are
having
you
me.
done name dropping?
In our mind, we're going to Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. We
All
can
right.
sing it.
Good tune right there. Okay, you're going to be on a panel already on, or you're going to be?
It was last night.
It was last night
At Hamilton College.
At Hamilton College, and I have to say, Hamilton does a tremendous job bringing in both sides of an issue, which is really what our college campuses should be doing today. I love to be able to sit there and watch, to hear people's viewpoints, and it's important to know all different angles of that. You are a one-time, self-proclaimed, one-time climate change denier, but I don't believe you are anymore.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, for my first 6 years in Congress, I said that climate change was nonsense. All I knew is that Al Gore was for it. That was the end of the inquiry for me, right? Because I represented a very conservative district in South Carolina, Greenville-Spartanburg, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Okay, pretty ignorant, but that's the way it was my first 6 years. Then I was out 6 years doing commercial real estate law again in Greenville. Had the opportunity to run for the same seat again in 2004. And so my son came to me, voting for the first time, just turned 18. He said, Dad, I'll vote for you, but you're going to clean up your act on the environment.
Okay.
So step 1 of a 3-step metamorphosis. Step 2 has a Utica connection.
Okay.
Which is Utica and Antarctica. And you might wonder, what is the connection? Well, answer, Sherry Bollert. Because Sherry insisted that I go with him on this trip to Antarctica. And so there I saw the science. Mostly I saw the ice core drillings.
Yeah.
And so then step 3 was...
By the way, I wish I knew the connection, because I would have made sure that my friend Dean DeMore was listening this morning, because Dean was his chief of staff.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And you know who took you on a trip probably back then is Tim Clancy. Do you remember Tim Clancy? He was his guy at when he was on the science committee.
Yeah.
Which Sherry chaired science.
Yes, yeah.
Tim helped coordinate a lot of these trips, and actually he was on one with Senator McCain. I don't know if you were on that same trip.
That's the one.
So Tim was with you.
Yeah,
Tim Clancy. We could have got him on.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So Sherry was, when we look back at where Congress was then, of course it was dysfunctional. But we had no idea what dysfunction really was until where we are today, it seems, right?
It was, and, Sherry Bollert really just had such an outsized influence on Congress. He was a really effective member of Congress. And, of course, I was so glad that he insisted on me going on that trip, because it's where I saw that ice core data.
Yeah.
And then third step for me was another science committee trip, and really something of a spiritual awakening, which seems unlikely, right, on a godless science committee trip, but turns out that not all scientists are godless, because I was snorkeling with this Aussie climate scientist. I could see that he was worshiping God in what he was showing me.
Yeah.
He told me about loving God and loving people by, caring about the climate. So I got right inspired. I want to be like Scott Herron, that Aussie climate scientist, loving God and loving people. Came home and introduced the Raise Wages, Cut Carbon Act of 2009. That's a revenue-neutral, border-adjustable carbon tax.
Mm-hmm.
Note to self, do not do that in the midst of the Great Recession when you represent probably the reddest district of the reddest state of the nation.
Yeah.
Won't go well. Didn't go well at all.
And it didn't go well.
After 12 years, I got tossed out of Congress with just 29% of the vote in the Republican runoff. usually don't lose that badly unless you've been indicted or something. You know, but I haven't been indicted, although that used to be the case. I don't know now.
But
now
it was
you get
such
indicted, you might do better.
It was such a hotbed. That is true. It was such a hotbed issue, and it became very political. At one point, it wasn't political, but it has become political. And I think a lot of it is because Republicans tend to represent big business and represent manufacturers and companies that produce for America. And this can be very, very costly for them if done incorrectly.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, Bill, is we have some unusual allies here in this thing for a revenue neutral. That means you cut taxes somewhere else if you're going to do a new carbon tax. So you don't grow government, you just change what you tax. Off income is what I was saying. Reduce the payroll tax, the FICA tax that we all pay if you have wage income. Right. You reduce that, you put on the carbon tax. The Congressional Budget Office says the bottom 70% of Americans do better because they get a fuller paycheck and they can do things to avoid the carbon tax. You put on a $30 per ton price on carbon dioxide at the mine, at the pipeline. Price of gasoline goes up by 30 cents a gallon. That's bad news. Price of electricity goes up by $11 a month. But you got a fuller paycheck. And so Congressional Budget Office says that it's 70%, the bottom 70% do better. Only people do worse. People with big houses, heated pools.
Yeah.
We're for freedom at republicen.org, the organization I run. If you got a heated pool, well, have us over in February for a pool party. Yeah. But once you start paying the full cost of heating that pool,
right,
the real cost of it, you're probably going to drain it. And have us over in May for a pool party. So that's our story. What we think is that Republicans have been the challenge is that the conversation about climate has been conducted mostly in the language of the left. We need to do with less. We need to sacrifice. We need to, those sorts of messages.
Yeah.
But what we think is it should be a message of abundance. No, you know what the future can be is more energy, more mobility, more freedom as we invent the new fuels of the future.
Wouldn't you say that it's, and I'll let the senator jump in here in a second, but wouldn't you say that when things become, when being energy efficient, energy responsible is profitable, that changes things. And I think we're seeing that with the electric car. It's quite not there. It's not quite there as of yet, especially in the north where it's cold. When it becomes, when you can get a deal and save, that'll change everything. Don't you feel that way?
Yeah. When it becomes, and that's what most of us have to wait for it to be economic. In other words, for it to make sense for us. I mean, you have early adopters who, bless them, they put solar on their house before it was economic. Mm-hmm. I got to wait for it to be economic, and so. But I was mentioning that we got some unusual allies. ExxonMobil is one, and you might think, why in the world would ExxonMobil be for a revenue-neutral, border-adjustable carbon tax? Border-adjustable, by the way, means we apply it to imports, so you end up collecting it from the Chinese. And the reason is they sell petroleum and natural gas, as their lobbyist told me one time. She said, Bob, the reason we're for it is if you put a price on carbon dioxide, natural gas beats coal better than it's beating it now. That's why we're for a carbon tax. And I said, great, Jeannie. I can go tell fellow conservatives you're just trying to make money.
Yeah.
What else would be believable?
Yeah,
ExxonMobil, they're not a not-for-profit
They're
company.
out to make money, there's no doubt. Yeah. Senator Griffo, what's your take on all of this?
Well, I think common sense would be a good thing, right? And when you look at things that you want to foster here, I also believe that from an energy perspective, and I was a former chair of the Senate Energy Committee, that you need a diversified portfolio, that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. And that goes to what the FBI director was warning about yesterday on Capitol Hill, basically about the threats to our society relative to the power grid and to foodstuff and our water. So my point is, when you hear a lot of these people talking about, what could and should be done, you have the hypocrisy of a John Kerry, who's the climate change leader and then flying around the world on private jets and things of that nature. It doesn't send the right message, I think, to people to be consistent. But beyond that is if you're going to embrace things, when you say you want clean energy, and I have no objection to pursuing a clean energy agenda, I mean, we're heavily subsidizing right now solar and wind projects because we have a number of them, and there's no reason not to embrace it, but people have to recognize there's a lot of tax dollars going in there to make that competitive at this point in time. But even with electric vehicles, the costs are astronomical, and the reliability is still a problem and a factor here. For instance, in New York, the state is mandating that all schools have these electric buses. And the superintendents and the business officers and the transportation experts are saying we can't do it because they won't function as well as they have to and could and should because the technology is not there. But beyond that, there's an astronomical cost associated with that right now that will be put on the taxpayer.
Not to mention the grid is not
So my point is, even when you embrace clean energy, the nuclear has to be a component of that.
Sure.
Because nuclear is clean energy. But many of these people, particularly many of those on the Democratic side, are saying, no, not nuclear because it's dangerous. But you've seen what they've done in Europe. They have transformed the nuclear industry where they've made it more safer and reliable, not compared to, a lot of people think, a 3 Mile Island and things of that nature. So I think that's some of the challenges that lie in trying to accept that there is a correlation to climate and what we're doing relative to policy and using certain types of resources. But on the other hand, when you look at this, what are we going to use now when you move towards all of the electric vehicles and the clean energy agenda? We're going to be using coal. We're going to be using, so there's a lot to this, right? And what you're doing, I think, is impressive. And Sherry was an extraordinary guy. I was one of his eulogists at his funeral.
Really?
And just a remarkable man. Had a lot of respect and admiration for him and for what you do.
Well, it's neat. Yeah, what you're about there is really important. Is that nuclear needs to be part of this solution. And you know what if we had our druthers at republicen.org, we'd eliminate all those subsidies you just mentioned. We won't get there, but we'd eliminate all the subsidies, including the biggest subsidy of them all, which is being able to belch and burn into the trash dump of the sky without paying a tipping fee. The dump here in Utica, I'm sure, has a tipping fee. If I'm Inglis trash hauling and I bring trash to the dump, I got to pay based on the weight of my truck coming into the dump, right?
Right.
Makes sense. I'm taking up space. The city needs to charge me for that. And I back that cost up to my customers, and therefore they try to get some of those cardboard boxes out of my dumpsters so they can recycle that, right? They don't want to pay me to take that stuff away. That's all good stuff because you're fixing the economics, and then the environment takes care of itself. And so, but if I had my druthers, I'd eliminate all the solar, all the wind, all the EV credits, and I'd apply this carbon tax. Revenue neutral, cut taxes somewhere else so there's no growth of government, apply it to imports so the Chinese are paying it, and then let consumers in the liberty of enlightened self-interest pursue their self-interest. And what they do is and companies pursue their self-interest, we'd build more nuclear. And what would happen then is that, I once said to the solar people, they invited me to come speak somewhere, the Wind Energy Association. They invited me to come speak. I said, listen, you know what I'm going to say when I get there? I want to eliminate the production tax credit for wind. They said, yeah, but you want to do a carbon tax. They said, we don't need the credits if you make coal accountable, if you make natural gas accountable, if you make petroleum accountable. We don't need the credits. And so that's when you get to the place of real free enterprise. Yeah. Free enterprise made accountable. It's sort of an oxymoron, isn't it? Accountable free enterprise. But in other words, where people don't get away with dumping for free into the trash dump of the sky.
Right.
If you pay for that, then things take care of themselves.
What was the takeaway from the panel last night at Hamilton?
That was the case I was making last night, exactly that. Yeah. I was joined by a fellow panelist who was advocating the Green New Deal, and so that was sort of the contention there, if you will, is, I'd say the Green New Deal, great name, great that they created a lot of energy and enthusiasm, but it isn't a worldwide solution. And the key to this thing is getting the world in on it. Because, when I was getting tossed out of Congress back in 2010, it's aggressive disbelief about climate change. It's basically, I believe in climate change, you shouldn't either.
Right. I think we've changed, haven't we?
We have. Now the question on minds of fellow conservatives is, but how you get the world in on this thing?
Correct.
And so
we cut all of our emissions, but look what China's doing. And I had a conversation with someone about this yesterday.
And that was the point I was going to make. You do these things unilaterally, right, without it being done universally, becomes problematic. And a lot of the efforts that are undertaken, particularly state by state or even a community, is saying, well, we're going to lead by example. But that's not going to truly make the difference, because unless you have them willing and ready to participate, it becomes a challenge.
Yeah, and only the federal government can do this effectively, because only the federal government can apply the border adjustment, which is the key. And that's the thing that came out last night, is the great that the Green New Deal had a great name, it polled well, created enthusiasm, but give me the mechanism by which you get China in on this thing. And the mechanism is not an international agreement. It's not bowing and scraping at the UN. It's not protracted negotiations. It's just this bold move that says, we, the United States, are ready to act. We're gonna charge a tipping fee for dumping a trash dump in the sky. And China, you're going to pay it. Now, you don't like that, China. Well, maybe you want to collect your own inside China. And that's the goal, is it they get their own, we get our own, and then the whole world follows. Then you got 8 billion people seeing the difference in the grocery store between a paper plate and a plastic plate, not because of regulation, but because now the paper reflects its emissions, which are less than the plastic plate.
Yeah.
And the price of the plastic goes up, and consumers pick the paper, not because they were trying to be righteous and shine their halo or signal to their friends.
That's exactly what we were just talking about.
It's because they say, well, this one's cheaper. Greener becomes cheaper at that point because it's cleaner.
It becomes the, by the way, we're speaking this morning, former congressman from South Carolina, Republican Bob Inglis, was a part of a panel on climate change last night at Hamilton College. And, you know, I never thought in a million years we would see, now this is the economy, supply and demand, and people and their budgets. I never thought we would ever see, you know, the little screw gun you have or the big one. Contractors will never use those battery-operated ones because they're not powerful enough. But guess what? You don't see anybody plugging in a drill anymore, do you?
No, yeah.
But that was not mandated. The economy produced that because it became, number one, a favored product, and number two, it was a better deal, and it worked better for people who were building homes.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? And that'll be the case as the batteries get better on, say, the F-150 Lightning, and the contractor pulls up while the other guys and gals on the site are waiting for the temporary power pole. The guy with the F-150 Lightning is going to be plugging in his power tools and already working, right? To his truck.
Yes,
because the truck becomes his power supports.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty exciting, but what it takes is good products, and good products follow from good policy. But the policy that we can't, what I'd prefer at republican.org is we not pick the technology, but we let the free enterprise system pick it. With one exception, I guess, and that is I would subsidize nuclear. Let me be clear that I'm not pure. Nuclear requires subsidy. The subsidy that is required is that you take, if Senator, I want to go into the business of building a nuclear power plant.
Yeah.
Bill, you society, you got to take our waste from us. That's inherently a subsidy, but we got to do that because otherwise we got an 800,000 year waste product. We got to find a banker that will give us an 800,000 year term.
Yucca Mountain's not looking to take it either, right?
Yeah, that's right. And so that's something that society has to do. But and so is it perfect? No, but it's a whole lot cleaner than everything else.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot safer. And if some of your listeners are doubting that, there's a great new film called Nuclear Now. Oliver Stone, liberal in Hollywood, did this film. And it basically says, let's reevaluate about nuclear, about how the left went against nuclear. The good news is that's coming around.
Look at Europe, the senator just mentioning that. I mean, it's incredible. Although Europe could do a little something with their air conditioners. They do not do well with air conditioners.
Yeah. You know, interesting about this nuclear thing. I was once in Rochester, and the Sierra Club wanted me to come speak there, and we said, we're republican.org. Listen, you get the Chamber of Commerce to jointly sponsor it, and I'll come. Otherwise, I can't go speak to the Sierra Club. They are already convinced.
Yes.
So they got the Chamber of Commerce, got to Rochester. It was exactly what I was fearing. It turned out to be mostly Sierra Club members, 300 people sitting there. And so they were loving on me. You know, they love when a conservative says something, you know, basically inherently critical of his party about how we need to act on climate. So they were loving on me. Then the question came up about nuclear. And I said, oh, no, my polling numbers are going to drop here in Rochester, quick.
And they did.
And so I said, we need to build more of it. Interesting. About 30% of the crowd clapped.
Wow.
And I thought, oh, they've got the new talking points. The others, the 70%, had the old talking points. The good news is that even the Sierra Club is starting to come around on nuclear because they realize, hey, which would you rather?
Right.
Would you rather foul the air with a whole bunch of burning, or would you rather have this challenge of nuclear waste, which is actually a lot less waste than you think, and that's what the Nuclear Now movie shows.
Where should people go? By the way, you mentioned it's Republican, en.org. That's Republic, en.org. That's your website. What do you want people to do? A lot of Republicans here right now. What are you asking them to buy into here?
Especially if you remember Sherry Bollert and really the importance that he has to my story about coming around on this. Sherry, I think, would be the guy who would say, yeah, this is what we've got to do. We've got to be people that are ready to innovate. And so if you're one of those conservatives who cares about climate change, join us at republicen.org. Take you about 45 seconds. All we need is zip code and email address.
Okay.
Email, we won't hound you for money. We got people to take care of that. It's just your zip code so we can show you, make you visible to your member of Congress and your 2 senators. They're starting to get the message that you exist, conservatives who care. If you're a progressive, show our site to your cousin Charlie, who is the conservative who rejects climate change, and let him see that, hey, there are conservatives, Charlie, who care about climate change. And so it's republicen.org, EN for energy, entrepreneurship, and environment.
Check it out, republicen.org. Congressman Bob Inglis, we really appreciate you coming in this morning in studio. Thank you.
Well, great to be with you, Bill. Thanks so much. And Senator, great to be with you.
Good stuff. And the story with Sherry Bollert was just awesome. That was a great tie-in. All right, I have to break. WIBX Utica Rome. News coming right up, and then Megan Stone with the local update and a full forecast for you as well. It is 8:02 at WIBX.
Hey, to social engineering and leftist corporations, do they make you feel like we're kind of living in the twilight zone? Well, you're not alone. Now, our friends at Pure Talk, my wireless company, they know the silent majority is fed up, and I'm calling on all of those Americans, stand with a company that champions your values. The average family is saving almost $1,000 a year. Dial pound 250, say the keyword SAVE NOW. Do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month from our friends at Pure Talk.
If you have a bank account, pay attention. Your savings could be at risk. The U.S. banking system is once again under extreme stress. This jeopardizes you and your family. But there is an easy way to protect yourself. Gold. Contact Noble Gold Investments today and safeguard your family's financial future. As a thank you for opening a qualified account, they'll give you a free quarter-ounce gold standard coin. Visit NobleGoldInvestments.com. NobleGoldInvestments.com. Gold. Safety for uncertain times.
Now, more about where President Biden's going as he made those comments about the border in Washington.
As presidents have done for more than half a century, President Biden will join Republicans and Democrats, officials across the government, and faith leaders for the National Prayer Breakfast. In remarks last year, President Biden said, "Too often in politics, we see each other as opponents and competitors, enemies, and not neighbors." The president also hits the campaign trail today, traveling to Michigan. At the White House, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
A victory in federal court in Florida for Governor Ron DeSantis. A federal judge throws out Disney's lawsuit.
The company had sued, saying the governor and the board had retaliated against Disney for criticizing state limits on classroom discussions of sexuality, the so-called Don't Say Gay law. Governor DeSantis then repeatedly attacked what he called woke Disney, and state lawmakers stripped Disney of its control over a special development district that had given the company virtual autonomy around its theme parks. A Disney spokesperson reacted to the judge's ruling, saying the case will not end here. Kevin Uretsky, Fox News.
They're trying to figure out why a hangar under construction at the Boise, Idaho airport collapsed, killing 3 people, injuring 9 others. A not guilty plea from actor Alec Baldwin.
Baldwin was recharged with involuntary manslaughter in the death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins during a rehearsal on the set of the film Rust in New Mexico. Prosecutors say Baldwin was pointing a gun at Hutchins during the rehearsal outside Santa Fe in October 2021 when the gun went off, killing Hutchins and wounding director Joel Souza. Baldwin claims he pulled back on the hammer, but not the trigger, and the gun went off. Lisa Lacera, Fox News.
On Wall Street, stock futures are rising the day after a big sell-off, reacting to the Federal Reserve not only not cutting interest rates, but suggesting a cut may not come until at least May. I'm Dave Anthony. This is Fox News.
It is 8:05 and 33 degrees here in downtown Utica, WIBX 950 AM, 106.9 FM. I'm Megan Stone. Your news is brought to you by the Stanley Center of the Arts, presenting Standards and Stories with Tony Danza, April 6, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now through Ticketmaster. The man who tragically lost his life due to a crash in Camillus has now been identified. Authorities say 52-year-old Mark Lovell was traveling on Route 321 near Flat Rock Road Tuesday morning when another driver lost control of her vehicle, causing it to collide with Lovell's. He was pronounced dead at Upstate University Hospital, and the other driver ended up being treated for non-life-threatening injuries. The cause of the accident is under investigation. The NYPD is looking for more suspects after a group of people believed to be migrants attacked 2 NYPD officers in Times Square. So far, at least 7 people have been arrested for Saturday's incident caught on camera outside a migrants' shelter. The cops were kicked and punched when they went to break up a fight involving 7 to 8 people. One of the officers suffered minor cuts. Of the 7 people charged, 2 were living in migrant shelters, 2 are homeless, 1 had a city address in Queens, while another had a Lenox Hill co-op. 1 had a Mississippi address. The Big Apple has been dealing with nonstop surges of immigrant arrivals. Excitement is kicking into high gear for next weekend's Super Bowl, especially with Taylor Swift fans in the mix. Taylor Swift is dating Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce, and Brian West of USA Today tells the Today Show Swifties mean big bucks. Recent data shows that Swift started going to games in September, and she's created a brand value of over, get this, $331 million for the Chiefs and the NFL. The Chiefs face the San Francisco 49ers in Las Vegas, February 11th. And Humane CNY is asking for help from the public with covering the cost of a dog's emergency surgery. The animal was brought to the Liverpool facility by someone who noticed how thin the dog was. A checkup revealed the canine is dealing with a potentially life-threatening obstruction. The shelter is low on funds after having to pay for other emergency services in January. Donations can be submitted online by going to humanecny.com. And now your Weather Center forecast from Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint.
Eyewitness News Chief Meteorologist Craig Flint in the WIBX Weather Center. Today, dry, cloudy early, then spotty sprinkles and wet flurries by lunchtime. Rain and wet snow showers become numerous by late afternoon and evening, near 40. Tonight, rain and wet snow showers change to snow showers, coating to an inch, low near 32. And tomorrow, lake flakes fizzle early, then drier for the afternoon, breezy, colder, high of 36. For more on your local forecast, tune to Eyewitness News at 6 on WUTR. I'm meteorologist Craig Flint on WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM.
Sports, brought to you by IBEW 43 Local Sports Desk. The Seahawks brass have decided on who will be their franchise's next head coach. ESPN reports that Seattle is hiring former Baltimore Ravens defensive coordinator Mike Macdonald as the team's new head coach. Macdonald is receiving a 6-year contract and immediately becomes the youngest head coach in NFL at 36 years old. The Packers found their next defensive coordinator. ESPN reports Jeff Hafley is expected to become the new DC in Green Bay. He'll be the third different defensive coordinator under head coach Matt LaFleur, who's entering his 6th season in Green Bay. The Jets have made a change to their front office. According to the New York Post, Gang Green and assistant general manager Rex Hogan have agreed to part ways. He had been general manager Joe Douglas's right-hand man since being hired in June 2019. The Nets unable to earn a third straight win after falling to the Phoenix Suns 136-120. Brooklyn is now fourth in the Atlantic Division and will visit the Philadelphia 76ers on Saturday night. The Knicks are hoping to extend their winning streak. New York continues its 6-game homestand when it hosts the Indiana Pacers tonight at Madison Square Garden. New York is currently second in the Atlantic Division at 31-17. And donations continue to pour in to replace a destroyed Jackie Robinson statue. The total raised through one online fundraiser has surpassed $140,000. Police are still searching for those responsible. It's 33 degrees outside in downtown Utica at 8:09 WIBX 950 AM 1069 FM. I'm Megan Stone.
All right, coming up, we'll speak more with Senator Joe Griffo, who's in studio, Assemblyman Brian Miller coming in, and a bunch more. Davey, we'll break and come back. It is 8:09 at WIBX.
Stanley Theater presents Standards and Stories with Tony Danza, April 6, 2024 at 7:30 p.m. Tony Danza and his 4-piece band are making their debut at the Stanley Theater with their hit live show Standards and Stories on Saturday, April 6 at 7:30 p.m. The hit live show has entertained audiences around the country, with the New York Times raving Tony's a live wire who tap dances, plays the ukulele, tells stories, and radiates irresistible charm. The New York Times reviewed, he excludes the kind of charisma that can't be taught. Tickets on sale now through Ticketmaster.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
For a limited time at Mattress Express, qualified buyers will get 60 months to pay on any purchase $1,500 or higher with no money down. That includes all brands of mattresses in the store and massage chairs. See store for details.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Adirondack Home Furniture's Flex Steel Big Game Sale is going on now, but only for a limited time. Hurry in for discounts up to 15% off select sofas, recliners, occasional pieces, and leather furniture. With hundreds of designer fabrics to choose from, your new piece is guaranteed to have the look you want. Stop dreaming and start creating the home of your dreams with quality, long-lasting Flex Steel furniture from Adirondack Home Furniture. Beauty and comfort is made to last with Flex Steel's exclusive lifetime warranty blue steel spring seating. Stop into Adirondack Home Furniture today and save up to 15% during their big game sale. Visit their Flex Steel gallery for the best selection of Flex Steel furniture on sale. The best value and top quality furniture for your home is at Adirondack Home Furniture. You don't want to miss out on the Flex Steel big game sale at Adirondack Home Furniture. Hurry in, sale ends soon. Located at the former Riverside Mall, Horatio Street, Utica.
The Joseph Michael Chubbuck Foundation's 7th Annual Central New York Wing Wars, to be held Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, is sold out. The Chubbuck Foundation wants to thank the Central New York community, WIBX, Arts Hill Inn, and this year's participants, Celtic Harp, Fratello's Pizzeria, Hot Off the Brick, Knuckleheads, Lucan's, Piggy Pats, Pizza Boys, Pizzeria Italia, Ray Brothers Barbecue, Crust Kitchen and Bar, Tony's Pizzeria and Deli of New Hartford, and Utica Barbecue for their continued support. The 200 attendees will vote for the best wing and the most unique wing alongside a panel of 7 celebrity judges: Oneida County Sheriff Masciel, Senator Griffo, WKTV's Jason Powells, Empire Plate's Bill Pinchy, WIBX's Bill Keeler, Assemblywoman Buttonshawn, and former SU football player Byron Abraham. Proceeds will assist cancer patients in financial need in Oneida, Herkimer, Madison, and Onondaga counties. If you'd like to add your name to the ticket cancellation list in the event a ticket becomes available, please call 315-339-5993. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Be eating some chicken wings this weekend, Joe.
Yeah, we will.
River Hills Properties is the #1 independent real estate agency in the area, in the region, and #2 if you include the big chains. It's all about the extra things they do for you and helping you sell your home. You know that the listing agent will be there, unlike almost in every other situation. Your listing agent is there every time the house is shown, keeping an eye on the property, making sure the lights are on, making sure you're putting your best foot forward. It's a big deal. And it was a deal breaker for us when my wife and I sold our home. They also provide every prospective buyer with the book, 40 to 100 pages filled with details about the home. If here in 2024 you're considering selling your home, it's all about picking the best real estate agent, the best listing agent for you. My wife and I made that decision. My wife, of course, did the research. We picked River Hills Properties because of the stress level that they reduced and all the extras they did. In Barneville, Little Falls, and Utica, online, it's riverhillspropertiesllc.com. Call 315-896-1009. Nobody sells homes like River Hills Properties.
Hello, everyone in Central New York. This is Dave Letterman, your old TV pal. Remember me? I'm supposed to say something witty and funny here about Bill Keeler, but I've got nothing. Ever see a picture of this guy? That's a joke in itself. Anyhow, here's Keeler on WIBX.
Yeah, well, he thinks Kelsey Grammer is dating Taylor Swift. I mean, give me a break. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. You got to get tight on that mic again. I'm sorry.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't
don't
see
hit
that.
yourself with
Oh.
it, though.
You had insurance?
When Letterman the other day did, he was talking about...
Still got the beard?
He's still bearded up.
Yeah.
He was talking about how the Taylor Swift thing and Travis Kelce, it's not a bad thing. Everybody's all up in arms. Somehow she's become a Democratic Biden operative. I've never seen her do anything political before.
Well, the NFL's really capitalizing on it.
NFL, right? CBS, everybody is capitalizing off her. So anyway, Letterman said, come on, these two seem to be in love. Let them go. But when he talked about it, he kept misstating Kelsey Grammer as opposed to Travis Kelce. Yeah. Messing that up a little.
Kelsey Grammer could bring him some beer. Maybe it'd be like
what did you right? Because he's got the brewery here locally. Yeah,
he came up here and made.
Well, he has one it's in the Hudson Valley, right?
I believe so.
Yeah,
but he actually came to promote the beer up here, and I didn't get to attend, unfortunately. But just a quick shout out to you. You mentioned this with the ad, and we will be together on judging some wings on Saturday. Just want to say the Chubbuck Foundation does an extraordinary job. The Chubbuck family, Barb, and everyone associated with that. They, it's really well attended, but well intentioned. They took something that was a tragedy with the loss of their son, who served our country, and and just really now are trying to help a lot of other people. So I'm proud to be associated with that and glad that they continue to invite us. And I'm going to let you try the wings first, and then
I'll be like, not too hot. Right. You're okay.
Well, yeah. Hotter the better.
I'd like to.
I thought you'd be a food taster.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see Sheriff Maciel, or how is that pronounced in the commercial, Davey?
Maciel.
Maciel. Sheriff Maciel. Man, the mispronunciation's going on today. It's scaring me just a little bit. Senator Griffo, how are you on your passwords?
Do you mean remembering them all?
What do they require at the state level?
Now they're going to these authenticator kind of situations because of, and unfortunately, people are preying upon people in the system, and there's a lot of ransomware things going on. But I'll tell you, it becomes much more difficult to try to access things.
So you're How many authenticators do you have? So you have your password,
A couple,
which,
a couple.
and then there's a couple.
Right.
A lot of times they're using your phone, so the phone will do facial recognition, and then it can authenticate the device or the password or whatever.
Some issue, right, with the phones, right, where people were stealing data from the phones, right? And
guess,
that's why
yeah.
Apple came up with the new software. But I think it just makes it a little more complicated when you're trying.
It does, but today, by the way, is National Change Your Password Day.
Okay.
I do think we are on the verge of the elimination of the password.
And what do you think?
I mean, it may
happens?
still exist, but we're not going to have to remember and put it in. There's going to be more of this second and third level authentication, more facial or thumbprint recognition, more of if you're wearing a wearable, if you have a wearable like a watch or your phone, it'll use the phone to authenticate who you are, and then you won't have to type in a pass. I think in the next 5 years we're going to see a real dissipation of passwords.
Yeah, and you've seen a lot of changes, obviously, technological advances. The question, though, is in my opinion, is that I always believe in reliability too, right? And that you have to have the backups. And I think that's part of the problem here. And maybe that's a segue to what the FBI director warned about yesterday on Capitol Hill, which I think is legitimate, that foreign powers, particularly those who want to be adversarial or become enemies, could really wreak havoc. They're fighting. I mean, we've been briefed in the past by Pentagon officials.
It's incredible.
And we're fighting, our troops are fighting wars every day, really, and these are cyber wars that are taking place. But beyond that, the potential threat to our power grid, the potential threat to water and food is remarkable because we're so reliant now on this technology, and it's been allowing us to be more efficient in a lot of ways and make things easier. But on the other hand, sole reliance on this, without backups, I think could cause serious challenges and problems in the future.
So the testimony yesterday said that if really the preparation is about Taiwan, if there became any military action, that the Chinese would respond with an attack, a cyber attack like this, and the will of the American people to get involved in anything further militarily would be lost because we would be so bothered by the fact that our ATMs aren't working, by the fact that the water that you're drinking isn't safe.
Think about that. How important is that? There's nothing more important than people being sustained with water or food, right? Or even power. Think about when the grid has gone down and when people are without power for a period, whether it's in winter and you're cold or in summer where it's oppressively hot. I mean, so this kind of warfare is very dangerous and the potential exists for that. And that's why I don't understand, why we're not having some, the redundancy that's necessary, that you have that backup. And we used to have that in a lot of ways, but now there's
I don't know what you're talking about with a backup.
Well, for instance, even with phones, right? So we're on the cell. Everybody's really embracing cells, but we've lost landlines. So at a time when you would have a landline and a cell phone, in the event that all the cell signals were jammed, you had the ability to communicate through the landline. Or if you lost power on the landline, you had the cell that you could use. We're getting rid of that because we're choosing one over the other instead of having both. And I think the redundancy factor is what they call that you need that backup. And I know nationally, obviously, we're going to hopefully have those type of systems so that we can counter what they're trying to do to create or bring havoc to our society.
Where do you store your cash for when the ATM goes down? Because these are things I think you got to be thinking about. You kind of need to be thinking about it. Joe,
think about the cash. Cash is important, right? But when you think about food and water and keeping you warm or cool, those become equally as significant, obviously, because now you're talking about life.
So you wonder about water. Well, you're relying on a water. You're not relying on a well. And by the way, relying on a well, you better have a generator because if the power goes down, you won't have the power to pump the water out of the well. Whereas years and years ago, you physically pumped that water out. So you're right. We are relying upon a lot. But, if you're getting your water from the Mohawk Valley water system, water treatment plant. The water is treated. The water is made to be safe. What actually pumps the water to you, there has to be pressure. So if they were to take down the computers, who knows what would happen?
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I keep saying I think common sense is the best approach to a lot of these things, and redundancy is important. Embrace technology and new visions, but don't abandon some of the tried and true things too. So to me, the best thing is to have a combination. Just like when we're talking about energy policy, and Assemblyman Miller's joined us, and we've talked about this as a former chair of energy. I always talked about a diversified portfolio. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. We were all taught that as we were growing up, right?
Well, that's why I have a horse, because you never know when the car breaks down. You at least can fall back on that horse. The Amish are going to be superior to all of us when this is all said and done. Joe is in Frankfurt on the Thruway. Are you on the Thruway, or are you calling about the Thruway?
I was on the Thruway yesterday, and I know we've talked this subject before, but, that big Thruway building, the Thruway Authority, did those people sit down and say, well, we're going to lay off all our toll takers. How are we going to get our money now? How are we going to collect the money? I think the only people that are paying for the Thruway are your people that have Easy Pass. If you're from Vermont or New Jersey or other states, you get the letters, just shred them.
Yeah, what's your take on that?
Well, that's a point well made, and that's the conversations I've had with the acting executive director of the Thruway Authority.
Aren't we working with other states so that you could?
We are, but we don't have interstate agreements right now. So his point is well made that right now they're just absconding. Because there's no consequence. It's no different than when we're talking about retail theft. When people realize they can get away with something, they begin to do that. And beyond that, some of them are changing their plates or covering their plates. So there's a lot of things that have to be done and changed differently. And, excuse me, a lot of people are being charged erroneously, too, based upon, the new gantries and the system that's in place. And that's why when you do these things, you have to there's always going to be some snafus and bugs that you got to work out. But I think in many cases, whether it's the Thruway now or the Office of Cannabis Management, these are just bad things going on as far as how they're conducting business. And they've got to change that. They've got to be prepared for these type of problems and address them and deal with them.
Is there a report out? I'd love to see a report on how much revenue we're taking in from out of state. Because that used to be, Joe, the beauty, Joe, in Frankfurt, is that, the argument against making the Thruway free was that the people from all over the country would be utilizing the Thruway, not just New Yorkers. So I wonder if there's a report that shows, have we had a reduction in money, in income for the Thruway, or are people paying the bill? And what do you do to people if they don't pay the bill? Kind of wonder about that. I don't know the answer.
Senator Griffo had brought up before the amount of money that still needs to be collected and what may happen. I don't even know if they're going to get any money that way. But if somebody owes a couple $1,000s and they say, well, geez, give us $300 and we'll relieve you of that debt. So, I mean, who they raised the amount of money to travel the Thruway.
Yeah, it costs more right now. Yep.
Yeah, for New Yorkers.
Right, for us. Interesting, Joe. Thank you for the question. Good question.
All right.
Have a great day. Listen,
Joe makes good points.
And that's a good point.
Same thing that we're trying to discuss with the Thruway officials to say, you got to get your act together relative to how you're going to ensure that there's interstate agreements so you can honor and respect one another and collect those payments, because there would be a consequence if they didn't pay for it within their Department of Motor Vehicles in their respective state of residence. Beyond that, how do you ensure that there's not erroneous charges being placed on people that are traveling? The facilities that are being built, we've questioned how they contracted with some of these organizations to ensure And they've said to us now that at least there will be a 24-hour presence in the convenience stores, but you have these the chains that are also there.
I think that Chick-fil-A is very popular.
Yeah. Well,
however,
they're very popular, but not on a Sunday.
They do not open on Sundays,
right.
and
you can't force them to do something.
I understand that. I understand, but there should be the what they're proposing now is the requirement. Assuming you're a part of this, and Brian would be as well, is the proposal is any vendors going forward must be open 7 days a week in order to become a vendor.
But that's why what I asked for is, I think, even more important right now is that we have a comprehensive review and examination and futuristic vision of what the Thruway is and what we expect of the Thruway and what we know.
It's a little late, don't you think?
No, it's not a little late, because it's what Tom Dewey did when he started the Thruway, Governor Dewey. We need to do that again now.
But they built all these new rest areas and
right.
signed long-term deals with all these
I get it, but I'm
food
just talking
companies.
about everything from the cost of
Yeah,
traveling on the
okay.
Thruway to what's on the Thruway to the way you charge people on the Thruway, all of that.
Okay. Joe, we've actually been in the same car on the Thruway once before, and you had an amazing driver. It was me. Quite amazing, Brian.
I thought I was on Air Keeler. Not
it
on,
was. We made it back, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I think we did. Brian Miller, Assemblyman, coming in a second standby. We'll break. Davey will come back. 8:29 at WIBX.
Tomorrow and Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater, the classic film Guess Who's Coming to Dinner?
Starring Academy Award winner Spencer Tracy, Academy Award winner Sidney Poitier, Academy Award winner Katharine Hepburn. Introducing Katherine Houghton.
Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? Tomorrow and Saturday at the Rome Capitol Theater, part of the Minority Film Series. Made possible by a grant from the Community Foundation of Oneida and Herkimer Counties. For more details, visit RomeCapital.com.
A lot of Cannoli's energy started to bounce back.
She has a lot of puppy moments, and she'll be 14 this summer.
What did these dog parents do for their dogs? They switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is back with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-size bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/deal or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
I love being part of AmeriQ Credit Union, where I share my dreams, my goals, and my challenges with those who know me best, where I stay connected no matter where my life takes me. And financial solutions are designed with my best interest in mind. Create a meaningful connection. Visit AmeriQ.org to learn more and open an account today. AmeriQ and you. Let's connect. Membership eligibility required. Insured by NCUA.
Imagine a world where animals and humans coexist in harmony, where wild animals thrive, habitats are protected, and marginalized communities are empowered. At International Animal Rescue, this is our vision. Our holistic, community-led projects not only rescue animals, but also protect and replenish precious habitats, creating a better future for us all. But we can't do this without you. Show your support now and help keep the wild, wild. Visit internationalanimalrescue.org.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. If you're a dad who is facing divorce, there are extra layers of stress that may include stereotypes and assumptions. No two situations are the same. Our legal experience and dedication prepare us for whatever legal challenges we face together. You need a partner you can count on. For more than 30 years, Cordell & Cordell has represented men in divorce.
518-554-0000. 100 Great Oaks Boulevard, Suite 110, Albany, New York, 12203. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Hey, Jen. OMG, look how busy it is in here. How'd you get all these customers?
Yeah, this month has been a record breaker for us. For a long time, we had decent business coming in from word of mouth, but we weren't growing. Lately, though, a lot of new folks have been finding us online, and that's made all the difference.
That's terrific. I wish I could figure out how to do that for my my shop, but I have no idea where to start.
Just do what I did. It's not as hard as you'd think. Go to mylocalcustomers.com to see exactly how many searches there are for businesses like yours.
Okay, then what?
If you see that there are a good number of clients searching in our area, you'll also get some suggestions for the best way to get their attention.
Do you think there are a lot of people searching for my business?
There's only one way to find out. Go to mylocalcustomers.com. It's quick, easy, and free.
Go to mylocalcustomers.com for a free local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching online for your type of business. It's quick, easy, and free. Visit mylocalcustomers.com. That's mylocalcustomers.com.
Hey, Ricky Z says right now you can save on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle at Steve Ponte Mazda, where they only select the best of the best late model Mazda vehicles to choose from. They offer award-winning Mazda certified pre-owned vehicles with a 160-point inspection and the 7-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. And if you're in need of a lower price or a lower payment, let's make your deal on a Mazda certified pre-owned vehicle, says Rick. And see why their customers always say it's always easy to do business at Steve Ponte Mazda Commercial Drive in Yorkville.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
All right, a Thursday morning, the day before. Do you know the holiday that's coming up? The day before Groundhog Day. Stupid holiday.
Pete, do you remember there was a groundhog that bit Bloomberg? They tried to do it in New York City.
I guess I didn't remember that.
They obviously do it in Pennsylvania, right? That's where everybody will be in Punxsutawney Phil. But they did it in Staten Island, I believe, and Bloomberg was there, and the groundhog bit him.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they do for a living, those groundhogs.
Bite Bloombergs?
Woodchucks. Bite Bloombergs.
It's my cousin from Boston, right?
That's exactly it. Brian Miller, Assemblyman, in studio right now. Brian, what's your take on it? I have more people messaging in on the Thruway right now. So they have the Isle of New York areas. We were just talking about this during the break. The one that you're coming into the Albany area from, if you're coming from New York, has all sorts of New York foods,
That's
pastries.
The New Baltimore one.
That's New Baltimore. Yes. That one, there's food in there. They have vending machines, clean bathrooms. It's really nice. But Joe's just telling us that the one would be the Erie Canal Welcome Center, is what they call it.
Yeah, I've been in a couple of them.
You say that one doesn't have any food in there.
Yeah, a couple of them have not had any. I'm not sure if they have like markets occasionally or things of that nature. But
have you been in New Baltimore? The one coming up from New York?
Yeah, I may have. I don't stop at all of them. There was a couple of times
that one's a nice one. I like that one.
I had the old district. I used to stop at that one all the time. And the reason for maybe that one's run a little bit different, it takes traffic from north and south.
You're right.
So it's a little more
so
traffic.
Maybe the traffic isn't.
And the people coming up from the city on the weekends, and who knows?
Right. Your take on the whole thing? I mean, it seems ridiculous that you would bring in a fast food chain that isn't open on Sundays. It kind of seems
these
stupid.
Guys knew the corporate structure of Chick-fil-A up front, and they knew what was going on. So Sundays it was closed, but like the senator says, we can't force them to open on Sundays.
Yeah, which I understand. Little thing called. Obviously, their reason for not being open on Sundays is a religious right.
Well, let's go a little bit further, too. We like to tell everybody what they're going to do and what they're not going to do. We could start telling some of these restaurants in the areas that are closed on Mondays, you need to be open.
Right,
We're going to mandate that.
Right. Well, we did it with liquor stores. Glad to see those liquor stores are all open on Sundays now. Brian.
And thanks to legislation that I think Assemblyman Miller supported and that I introduced post-pandemic, you can get haircuts on Sundays now, too. You can go to your beauty salon or your barber. There was a time there was a prohibition on doing that on Sundays, and we found that in our office. Our staff was researching, and we identified it and said this should change, and we did propose a law, and thankfully it was passed.
Well, I think we're all old enough here that we remember that there was no other blue laws. There was no shopping on Sundays other than grocery stores.
Really? I'm not that old.
Okay.
You guys.
Well, maybe not in the Valley. They had
not in the Valley.
They had some different situations.
That's right.
Going
The
on.
Valley. Listen, we've been open. We're open for any day. I mean,
I'm not sure.
Christmas, Thanksgiving.
I don't know what Brian's talking about either. Like, how old are you, Brian?
A little younger than you, Joe. Not much. But
Back in the old days. Back in the old days. All right. Let's talk about the new plan the governor has to change the way school districts are funded. How do you have you read up on it? What's your take on it so far?
Well, the senator did a great job talking. You guys talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
We fully funded them last year. There was record funding. We knew that we were going to come to this point sooner or later, and the governor's trying to hold the schools in the funding formula, but along with that comes the hold harmless end of it. And before it took care of the schools that lost revenue,
right.
And it kept them at the same funding level that they were last year. It's not going to work. We need to change this. I hope it's just not a bargaining chip that she's going to use along the way. It seems like there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of bargaining chips in this budget, and I don't know if it's going to push our way to some type of housing projects. So.
You think this is dead on arrival?
Yeah, that's my belief right now from talking and listening to a lot of the members, as Brian has indicated, even within his conference and the majority conference. We had superintendents meeting with the chairs of the committees of education, and both the chairs indicated that this was unacceptable. What we need is there's a regents opening in this area. And the Assembly controls this because it's a vote of 213, the whole legislature. So obviously the Assembly majority has the most. They have about 107 votes, so that's over half almost right there. You need a couple more votes. Right. I think we need somebody like Dr. Rick Timms on the Board of Regents.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, you get a guy like Rick Timms on the Board of Regents, and you finally get an advocate for students and education. And we've talked to Assemblywoman Buttonshine and said, because the majority members are going to be pushing these names, and I thought, let's put Dr. Tim, even though we haven't consulted with Dr. Timms yet, so he doesn't know about this.
I'm sure
he'd be a great candidate.
Pushing him along the way.
He'd be a great regent.
Oh,
he might be hearing this right now. For the record, he just so happens to be my wife's father. But in terms of education finance in New York State, there is no one that knows more than he knows.
We've all talked to him. And really a numbers guy on the Regents is what we need right now. We've talked about
he's
foundation.
A former superintendent too, so he knows how to deal with all the aspects and issues relative to education.
Well, former history teacher, former assistant principal, superintendent, and then superintendent of BOCES. So he's been at all aspects of this, but he knows the numbers and
takes it all the way across.
Usually when he explains it, there is okay, let's do this again. And by the second time, you're kind of there. But the reality is, I'm not sure. Would they be afraid of someone like him?
I would think so. But I think that's what they need.
And
if they're really fulfilling what the role and responsibility is of the regents, you want somebody with that expertise and advocacy and the development of policy that is going to impact future generations. So these are the type of people we should be looking to. Let's get out there. And like I said, there's an opening in this region now from the Central New York area. They normally give it to Syracuse, but I think, actually, the last time we had it in this area was Emmeline Griffith. Yep. He was a regent from the Central New York area.
And that was a while ago.
It was a long time ago.
It was a while ago.
Well, it is that's a very interesting, I'll try to he'll be on the air tomorrow, as a matter of fact, talking about this, these changes in education funding.
Tell him we haven't consulted with him, but I'm suggesting and drafting him.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let me break. We'll talk more with what's on Brian's mind. And you have questions. I got a bunch of questions here that we'll throw at you guys. And Assemblyman Brian Miller, Senator Joe Griffo in studio, 842 at WIBX.
Retirement Outlook. If your retirement account is mostly stocks or bonds, listen closely. The future of your savings may be more uncertain than ever before. Hi, I'm Paul Stone, CEO of Colonial Metals. The sad truth is, our government continues to eat away at our freedoms and security. In economic times like these, run around the flagpole by lunatics in Washington, I look to the most trusted store of wealth in human history, physical gold and silver that you own. At Colonial Metals, we specialize in helping folks with IRAs and 401ks and other retirement accounts move their savings into physical gold and silver. If you'd like a free gold investment kit, give us a call today at 820-800-8000. My team is standing by, ready to rush a free gold investment kit to you. You may also qualify for $7,500 in free silver and a free safe. Call 820-800-8000 now. That's 820-800-8000.
Colonial Metals is not a financial advisor. Consult with your advisor before investing.
That's 820-800-8000.
The Joseph Michael Chubbuck Foundation's 7th Annual Central New York Wing Wars, to be held Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, is sold out. The Chubbuck Foundation wants to thank the Central New York community, WIBX, Arts Hill Inn, and this year's participants, Celtic Harp, Fratello's Pizzeria, Hot Off the Brick, Knuckleheads, Lucan's, Piggy Pats, Pizza Boys, Pizzeria Italia, Ray Brothers Barbecue, Crust Kitchen and Bar, Tony's Pizzeria and Deli of New Hartford, and Utica Barbecue for their continued support. The 200 attendees will vote for the best wing and the most unique wing, alongside a panel of 7 celebrity judges: Oneida County Sheriff Masciol, Senator Griffo, WKTV's Jason Powells, Empire Plate's Bill Pinchy, WIBX's Bill Keeler, Assemblywoman Buttonshawn, and former SU football player Byron Abraham. Proceeds will assist cancer patients in financial need in Oneida, Herkimer, Madison, and Onondaga counties. If you'd like to add your name to the ticket cancellation list in the event a ticket becomes available, please call 315-339-5993. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Thank you.
Hi, this is Scott Hayes.
And this is Jill Hayes from New York Sash.
You know, honey, the first time you said, never let a Windows salesperson into your home, I thought you were nuts. But you were right.
Like there was really any doubt.
Seriously, so many people have told us how nice it is to shop in our beautiful showroom, where there's never any high pressure.
Yep, and it's even nicer when we can help people save.
Like right now, buy 2 New York Sash windows and get 1 free.
We get slow during the winter, and we need to stay busy, so you get the best deal we make all year. Buy 2 windows, get 1 free.
Buy 4, get 2 free.
Buy 6 windows, get 3 free. There's no end to the savings.
And there's no need to invite a pushy salesperson into your home. Instead, stop by the New York Sash Idea and Design Center, where you can browse at your convenience.
We're open Monday through Saturday on Oriskany Boulevard in Whitesboro.
Buy 2 windows, get 1 free. But it ends Monday, so come in today. And as always,
let our family take care of your family.
We all make resolutions this time of year, and let's face it, most of them won't stick. But here's one that's not only easy to keep, but will help you feel healthier all year long: Navage. Navage provides quick, drug-free nasal relief by washing saline in one nostril, around the back of the nose, and out of the other nostril. This time of year, when everyone is sick, Navage helps by sucking out germs, bacteria, and viruses trapped in our noses that cause us to feel miserable. And come allergy season, it does the same with dust, pollen, and other allergens. And unlike medications that can take time to help, if they're effective at all, Navage helps treat congestion symptoms in seconds flat, without drugs. This New Year's, resolve to use drug-free Navage to help you breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier all year long. Ask for Navage at Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Target, or find us online at Navage.com. Navage, N-A-V-A-G-E. Clean nose, healthy life.
The Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills is the area's premier osteopathic medical clinic, and they're accepting new patients right now. Whether you're losing your current doctor or you're ready to make the switch, make the phone call today, 315-507-4751 for the Falcon Clinic. Dr. Schmelz, Dr. Zielinski, all physicians under one roof, even counseling services, acupuncture with Dr. Kosminski, all there under one roof at the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills. Call today. They're accepting new patients. 315-507-4751, the Falcon Clinic in Washington Mills.
WIBX 950 and 106.9 FM. This is Keeler.
Senator Joe Griffo hanging in here this morning, along with Assemblyman Brian Miller.
How would you rate my performance?
You're doing well.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you want a grade score, or you're doing well?
It's probably an incomplete right now.
You're doing well. Yeah.
But I walk every morning, and Joe, you were a little bit late this morning.
He was late.
Wow, I was not late. I was told to be here at 6:30.
I was
really.
walking, and I could hear the grumbling going on.
I seem to think that sometime when we do, and we got to do another Joe time soon. We'll go to daylight. What do you think?
Daylight Donuts. That
All right,
sounds
let's
good.
do it.
All right.
But I normally am there at the same time as your engineer. Right?
Normally you're early over there. You were not today. Wayne asking, can you ask whatever happened to the idea of free New York State Thruway?
What happened with the Free New York State Thruway is they went to a user-based system, and they indicated that they felt that instead of putting it on the general tax base, that they would go user-based, and as a result of that, they had to continue to sustain it that way. Originally, I think it was proposed that once the debt was paid off, the Thruway would be free, and that's something that could and should be evaluated, as I indicated, in the Thruway have this reimagining and revisioning in the 21st century, as they did in the 20th century with the inception from Governor Dewey. So that's what I'm asking to be done. So I think that's the rationale they give as to why it's not free right now. It was supposed to be when the debt was paid off. The debt has been paid off, but now they've said, well, it's a user-based system as opposed to the general tax-based funding.
But I'm
not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's what happens.
I'll go with Brian on this. The debt's never going to be paid off, right?
Because it's been paid off many, many, many times over.
But the bridges need repair, the roads.
Well, we can talk about bridges all day long. We had the DOT.
And he's an engineer, so
budget hearing last week, and I was lucky enough to sit in as a ranker on that, and to talk to the commissioner on the CHIPS programs, on bridges, on paved New York. There's money taken out of there. Joe and I, Bill, you drive the roads, and many people out there drive the roads every day, and we barely fund to take care of what we got. And we got bridges collapsing. They're not collapsing, but they're.
Well, we've certainly seen a bridge collapse, and we've seen that, and you wonder when you're going over a bridge.
Every time I drive over that, I think of that
the
terrible,
Thruway collapse,
April day, over that river.
Yeah. Wayne says, what about making it free to New York drivers?
That's a great concept. I mean, it's actually a very good idea. Instead, what they're doing, Wayne, is just the opposite. They're starting, now they've implemented congestion pricing in New York City, where they're charging people to go into the city. Great idea. And again, I think it should be part, and I'm hopeful that somebody will maybe take this on, as we've urged and recommended, to really determine what the Thruway could and should be in the 21st century.
Mike this morning, New York State government did a great job with the Thruway, not working out a deal with other states, getting rid of the toll booths. They landed restaurant chains that are only open 6 out of 7 days. And by the way, ended up with smaller Thruway stops with fewer bathrooms in some places. And I got to tell you, on a busy day, there are lines out those outside waiting to get into the bathroom.
Yeah, Mike is right, and what I would say to him, because I know a lot of people would say, well, what are you guys doing about it? The Thruway Authority, and that's why I've railed against some of these authorities. We have too many public benefit authorities right now. Once they're appointed, they get to make these decisions on their own without even beyond the governor and the legislature. And I think that's wrong, and that's why we have to be careful when you establish these type of organizations, and there should be regular reviews more than we have right now. So maybe in some of these cases, when there's something so important, it should stay within the executive and the legislature.
There are 19 states that accept Easy Pass. Do we have agreements with all those? If we don't, it would be really ridiculous, right? I mean, I would hope we do.
We should have.
I mean, we have agreements with Easy Pass.
Before we went to a toll-less, stop toll system, we should have this all figured out. No business here in New York would run like this, because you'd be out of business in a matter of months, and we just keep on limping along the way we go.
So there are agreements with other states on Easy Pass, because you can use your Easy Pass in Massachusetts and some of the New England states, I think Pennsylvania, The point is well made, though. If we can do that with that, we should be doing the same with fines relative to those
I would think we'd be able to do
who are
that.
violating the law and refusing to pay.
Easy says, just a complete joke when people put in charge that do not get the job done and all the information that is needed. Not sure completely what he's talking about there. But on this throughway thing, it is a bit of a mess. It was not thought out completely.
No, it wasn't well thought out.
Yeah.
And, to go along with Joe's thoughts on the authorities, and when we put people on these authorities, we got to make sure we put the right people on the authorities.
Yeah.
And who's ever in charge of watching them, reviewing what they do, needs to do a total review on it.
Darlene in Sequoia, watch Taylor Swift documentary on Netflix. It was when Trump was president. You'll see how much of a Democrat she is. I guess I get that. What I'm saying is she's not pitching. She isn't out in her concerts right now pitching Biden over Trump or whatever. And every person you're going to get that's going to perform or going to go watch a game is going to have like one side or the other, most likely. Is that a prerequisite for... I just don't understand all the hoopla.
Well, sports is supposed to be a place where we just get away from things.
I understand, but is she really out publicizing politics? She's not.
I don't think so.
She's not. I mean, and I get it. The NFL is like, they're seeing a cash register in her.
Absolutely.
They're making money off her. Jerseys are selling. Where do you stand, Joe? Should Taylor Swift be banned from the Super Bowl?
Well, I don't think you can ban anybody.
You don't think so?
Anything. If she were going to be the performer of the Super Bowl, I think that would be something you can call into question. And whether or not she goes on a campaign trail eventually, and you have a number of them. Springsteen has done that, where he's performed for
all those guys are anti-Trump. They're all anti-Trump.
Well, most, yeah.
I mean, are we going to give each performer a political test before they now? If you're going to go up there and you're going to begin giving a campaign speech, I think the NFL should have a problem with that, right? That's not what this should be.
I think what Brian's point is well made, though, too. Let's bring this back to sports and entertainment. Take the politics out of this stuff. People want to go and enjoy a game.
It's a place you want to go on a Sunday
you don't want to hear.
You want to forget
Aaron
about
Rodgers.
what's going on.
The only people talking politics are the Trump supporters. They're the only ones. Sorry, guys. I mean, who's talking politics here?
Well, I mean, the NFL's done some things.
They have her doing some sort of a campaign that is underground. She's an operative for Biden. I mean, are you kidding me?
Well,
she's a singer that makes a lot of money. Give me a break.
Hey, she's already got bad judgment. She's like out there.
She's with a Chiefs player, for God's sake.
She's with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Very good point.
I'm
with you there.
At, Andrew's Green Bay Packers helmet here, and
I got to wear silver and black.
Andrew's an owner of the Green Bay Packers. All right, hold on here. I have one more that I thought was kind of interesting, although maybe I lost it. I guess I lost a whole bunch of these. I don't know how that just happened, but all of the messages I was looking at they just disappeared. So nonetheless, what do we want to see out of? Obviously, there's craziness in Albany right now from the migrant situation, the attack that happened on New York City police on Saturday. Really kind of shines a light on it. It's almost as if we can complain about all of this stuff over and over and over again, and what comes out of it? Well, I feel like nothing gets accomplished because you're dealing with a downstate majority that has all the power.
Well, as we see this pendulum start to come back, we're starting to see talk on it. The governor's starting to realize that things have to be done. She didn't say deport the migrants, and I was hoping she was going to say that, but the victims are starting to get closer and closer to the downstate people and what's happening. It's right there in New York City. That was terrible. That was just terrible.
The answer to your question is you need to restore balance to the state. When you had divided government, you had those checks and balances. We don't right now. So that's why when people are making their choices in the next next couple of seasons, when we get to fall, because I don't want to get through spring and summer that quick. But there's a consequence to.
Well, you're both up for re-election. Right. without getting into the whole thing yet, because there's a lot of signatures. It looks like you're going to have a few opponents.
It appears.
And Brian Miller, I haven't heard. Are you running again?
Yes, I am running.
Okay.
We're very happy to. We haven't really announced, but I guess
let's do it here.
Announcing we are running for re-election. Last week we appeared in front of the Oneida County GOP committee, and we were very fortunate and very happy and very honored to get their endorsement. And
I did see
Madison
that.
County next week, and then at Seagull County, Herkimer County.
All right. One more. Scott Moon. Scott, happy birthday, by the way. If you get a chance, would you ask Senator Griffo, why has Utica-Rome been excluded lately from Schumer's federal tech hub designation? I think that's a very good question. Have you had any conversation, either one of you, with his office on that? How do you exclude Marcy? How do you exclude Griffiths?
I have not had that conversation with him, but I'm sure local officials have been discussing, and I know what they're talking about. Relative, yes, we have had.
He named Syracuse down to Buffalo.
Yes. They seem to
skip right over us. Actually, I don't even think they mentioned Albany, to be honest.
Right. Yeah, and we have had that conversation with staff as to what he can and should be doing differently relative to that. But again, it's within their purview. But we will continue to engage and hopefully let him see the errors of his way on that.
Yeah.
It's the I-90 corridor that is the tech hub right now in New York State.
Right.
And it's, we got some great things going on.
Well, you hear Schumer always talking about, his grandparents lived here. He has ties to Utica and all of this. All of a sudden, he's running with this without including all the investment that's happened at Griffiths and at Marcy. It just doesn't really make much sense at all.
He's been here. He's been at Griffiths and for a lot of announcements.
It makes no sense. Yeah. Either way, anything else you guys want to add? I heard something new is coming to Marcy. Are you guys hearing any rumblings of that? An announcement coming soon? Joe, you're smiling. That's all you're doing.
I think there's a lot of good work going on here with county exec and
you're not going to say anything.
Mohawk Valley Edge and
okay, you're going to end
on
that
note.
We're
well positioned.
You're going to end on that note.
Well positioned, hang tight. Right?
Okay, well positioned, hang tight. Kilmeade is next. Enjoy your day at WIBX.
From the Stanley Theater Studio, WIBX 950 Utica Rome, W295DI Utica Rome, your news, talk, and sports leader, a Town Square media station.
Without a simple answer.
Mr. President, some House Republicans are calling the border deal a non-starter. Can you get it done?
Mr. President, are you doing enough to try? President Biden saying we're trying on his way into the National Prayer Breakfast with congressional leaders this morning. Some Republicans in the Senate are trying to work out a compromise on border security to stop record illegal immigration. GOP Congressman Jim Jordan tells Fox.
I think we have to put on the appropriation bills, the bills that fund the government. We have to put a simple sentence. Time out on all this. No money can be used to process or release into the country any new migrants.
There was a bill in the House that passed with Republican and Democrat support, a $79 billion tax cut plan for businesses and parents who could get a bigger child tax credit. Later today, President Biden will campaign in Michigan as a new Quinnipiac poll gives him a 6-point lead over former President Trump in a potential 2024 rematch. It also shows Trump Republican challenger Nikki Haley would beat Biden by 5 points. The U.S. has hit the Iran-backed Houthi militants again.
Central Command tells us U.S. forces struck up to 10 drones the Houthis were preparing to launch in Yemen. And the USS Carney shot down 3 Iran-made drones and an anti-ship ballistic missile in the Gulf of Aden. The group says its campaign against commercial vessels in the Red Sea and surrounding waters is a response to Israel's war on Hamas. The Houthis say they see all British and American ships as targets.
Fox's Jonathan Savage. We're still waiting for the retaliation the president says he's decided on to hit the Iran-backed militants who attacked a U.S. base in Jordan, killing 3 American soldiers. 3 people are dead in Boise, Idaho, and 9 more injured, some critically.
Investigators